What a 24 hours. What a 24 hours for the Philadelphia Eagles. Incredible. The backlash and the kudos that Saquon Barkley deserves. Finally, the star of the Eagles gets his kudos. Time Man of the Year wasn't at the White House, though. Hillary Hurts. So, I mean, it's okay. The right people were at the White House celebrating their championship. I thought it was great. The entire offensive line was there at the White House celebrating their Super Bowl championship, along with the star of the MVP of the team, Saquon Barkley. I thought it was great. I thought Big Dom was awesome. I saw Vic Fangio there, the architect of the defense that was number one in the National Football League. You know, in theory, the right people were at the White House. They were. The right people were at the White House. I like it. You know why? At least Saquon Barkley. I mean, this guy played golf with Barack Obama. This guy played golf with Trump. This guy's done it all, man. That's what it's like to be a superstar. You dip on both sides of the aisle. By the way, today, John Morgan's going to join us at 4:30. I saw him with a picture of Ron DeSantis. He doesn't have the same philosophical or political beliefs. They're trying to work together, though. Like it. True leadership. Hey, by the way, funny, Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith didn't have the balls to tell Nick Saban, I'm not going to the White House. In 2018, with his Bama team, didn't have the nuggets to do that. Yo, Nick would have said, sit your asses down. Get your jackets on. You're going. Sills, when's the next time you're going to put us idiot Eagle fans at times on the show? Kyle, those are special times that we do that. Okay? Those are special times that we do stuff like that. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you for that super chat. By the way, yesterday, $1,000 worth of supers. You guys were great. Hit the like button. We appreciate you guys. Yeah, the right guys were at the White House. People who mattered the most. Not the Time Man of the Year. I think he's going to try to cure apartheid or cure cancer or something now, because I know you're influential. I definitely went, but we agreed BG was one of the greatest leaders in Philly history. He didn't show up either, Sills. Still's on fire. You guys are missing the whole point. The leader of the football team and the highest paid guy on your football team and the face of your football team is your quarterback in this league. Plain and simple. It's why they are paid. These guys have to do shit they don't want to do. They have to eat, sometimes crow, when the entire team's not playing well. Dude, this has got nothing, once again, to do with politics. This has got everything to do with being in a team sport and not putting yourself ahead. Hey, you want to know a guy who put himself ahead? The Sanders family. Cost that kid an opportunity to get drafted. Okay? This is a team sport, man. You row out to sea together. Not one guy. You want to do that? You're a golfer, you're a tennis player, you're a boxer. That's what this comes down to. Again, Hurts didn't have the balls to tell Nick Saban, I'm not going. Yeah, but he was a college athlete. Oh, I see. So now because he's Mr. Time Man of the Year, he wants to play politics. Okay. He's playing politics. Okay. Hey, that's what he's doing. You know, they didn't want to make it political. They did. Oh, and by the way, I thought it was really shitty that some of the players, especially the defensive players, didn't want to go to Arlington and put the wreath on the unknown soldier. Thought that was pretty shitty. Great moment. Thought that would have been a nice moment for the Eagle guys. Well, some of them did, and some of them had it. Well, not him. Not the face of your team. How do you think that would have looked? Remember something. From what I understood, it was scheduling conflict with the View. Because he's got to go on with those idiots. Or some shit. I don't know. I'm sure there was something dumb. Didn't want to go put the wreath on the unknown soldier at Arlington. Pretty solid. Again, don't worry about it. It's not a bad look. Hey, by the way, I heard John say this morning here with Xander. Bro, everyone has a right to their own opinion, John, no matter if you like it or not. And I think that's a bullshit move. Whether you like it or not. Remember what Boomer Esiason said on this program? You got to learn to play with your contract. Good and bad. Hey, by the way, now you know what you're doing? Half the Eagle fan base is teaming up on Saquon Barkley. Malcolm Jenkins thinks he's a disgrace because he played golf with Trump and he went to the White House. Hey, Malcolm Jenkins, shut the fuck up. Honestly, who are you? The kid has every right to do whatever he wants to do. Whether you like it or not. I told you the relationship. You know what? You talk about uninformed. By the way, that Les Bowen guy, what a racist tweet he put out on Saquon Barkley. What a racist tweet. You know, it's funny when somebody like Laura Ingraham put out, hey, LeBron, shut up and dribble. You know what Les Bowen put out? Hey, Saquon, you're not really educated to know what's going on. So I'm going to add this. Hey, just shut up and carry the ball. Just shut up and carry the ball. That's what Les Bowman's tweet read. Just shut up and carry the ball. Who are you? Okay, I mean, Jalen shouldn't play in Florida since it's run by Republicans. Completely true. Shouldn't show up in shouldn't show up in Republican states. Since he's so stout on being a politician now, right? Think about that. Hey, I got to read this verbatim here. What's his name? Les Bowen, is that his name? They're really famous, yeah. Les Bowen, the writer for, by the way, tomorrow we're going to have Marcus Hayes on, our good friend from the Philadelphia Inquirer. And Les basically tweeted out about Saquon Barkley. And I tweeted back at him and I'm saying, are you suggesting that he should just shut the fuck up? I mean, it's quite amazing that it's okay. So Laura Ingraham gets killed by everybody because she tells LeBron to shut up and dribble, right? Well, I'm going to read you something here that Les wrote about Saquon Barkley. And I'm going to make it one last time here and make sure everyone understands the relationship that he has with Donald Trump. His uncle is Iran Barkley. Iran Barkley fought at Trump's casinos and was the middleweight champion of the world. He was the middleweight champion of the world, and there was a relationship there. He has known him since he was a kid. So when he's saying that Saquon's not educated, hey, Les, you might want to get educated too. Okay? Dude, this was a really racist tweet that he put out there on on Saquon Barkley. It was really ridiculous. Shut up and carry the ball and catch and pass routes. Man, I guess it works for some and not others. What a complete tool. Man. You know, I was thinking of having that guy on one time. I'd never put a guy like that on. Holy shit. Him and that other guy, Paul Dumowitz. These guys, they write with a political pen. And they think athletes are stupid. That's his tweet by Les that says athletes are stupid and not enough, don't have the same common sense as anyone else. It is a complete disgrace that he covers the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a disgrace. Hey, Kyle, do me a favor. Can you post what he said? Because I can't find it on his Twitter. He may have deleted it. Be mad, too, if my parents named me Leslie. Saquon fits your narrative. Really? What's that? A winner? So you praise him. You shouldn't judge either guy. At least I understand Xander's point. Sills, on the other hand, is pushing a narrative. No, I'm not. What, team? I'm pushing a narrative of team. That's all I'm pushing. You're the one filling in the narrative for you. It's your narrative, Prince. I'm talking team. Plain and simple. That's all I mean. It's team. Not you, because you're coming up with your own narrative. You're filling in your own ideology in what I'm saying. Hey, Prince, it's a you thing. Okay? It's a you thing. I'm talking team. I thought it was a great event. Everybody was having a good time. Big Dom. Great to see Big Dom. They're having a great time. Everyone was laughing. I really loved it, man. I thought it was awesome. Good for you, man. The guys who mattered the most in your championship season. All good, man. Love it. Hey, man, get this. It's called having an opinion. Stills, be man enough to say you didn't have respect for Tom Brady or not going to the White House, just like Jalen. Tom Brady's a dick, too, for not going. Sure, not a problem. What do you think this is? Marcus, exactly what are you trying to do? Oh, I see what you're doing. Trying to make it something to do with race when I'm talking team. Tom Brady was an asshole for not going to the White House when Obama was in the White House. Absolutely. He's an asshole too. There. He's an asshole too. Absolutely. What, you think Brady gets a pass because he's white? He's an asshole. All right? I'm talking team. Come on, something else. Try to make a narrative. You're piling on Saquon Barkley. This guy's great friends with Barack Obama. Great friends. Playing golf with him. How many times did he mention Barack Obama? Obama loves Barkley. Now, you got former players and half the fan base pissing all over a guy who had 2,005 yards and was the number one reason you won the Super Bowl, and you don't like what he does because you have a different opinion of him. Hey, by the way, at the end of the day, my wife will tell you this flat out. People barely come here for my sports takes. You're not coming here for my political takes. Why would you give a shit or a fuck what Saquon Barkley's political views are? What does that have to do with you? You are a football fan. You're not a moralist. I mean, really. Nobody on the planet comes to this channel for my political views. Nobody. They barely come here for my sports. Are AJ and Devontae a-holes too then? They're not the face of the franchise. Dude, are you suggesting that you think A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith have the same responsibilities as a quarterback of an NFL football team? If that's the case, you don't know what a football team does. And you don't know who the leader is. What would you know? Seriously. John Morgan will join us at 4:30. One of the legendary offensive linemen. I played against him when he was with the Indianapolis Colts. 7-time Pro Bowler, Chris Hinton. His son, Miles Hinton, was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, and I love the fact they showed the video of Jeff Stoutland calling Hinton the Michigan offensive tackle and welcoming him to Philadelphia. So we will talk to Chris, his legendary career. By the way, just for the record, Chris Hinton has more Pro Bowls than Lane Johnson. 7. You know why he's not in the Hall of Fame? Because he was part of that Elway trade. And everyone thinks that the Colts got the bad end of it. Not true. This guy lived up to the 3rd pick in the draft. Okay, he's not in the Hall because of BS. A great player. 7-time Pro Bowler. Wake me up when Lane gets there. Okay? Wake me up when he gets there. All right. Bunch of topics. 10 questions facing the Eagles post-draft. The Jahad Campbell injuries. How concerning are they? And by the way, I heard John say this. He's right, but I'll ask this. The Eagles are a football organization that likes to take gambles. Is this the time to take that gamble? When you took a blowtorch to your defense? Do you think this was the right timing for that? To take the player's a fabulous ball player. Okay? All right. Barkley conversation. Somebody brought something up about him. I want to hit on it a little bit later. Dallas Goedert. I want to hit on him in a second here as well. And by the way, a little bit on Shedeur Sanders, supposedly, according to our friend. Boomer Esiason says that many NFL owners took Shedeur Sanders off their draft board. Sills, my biggest concern right now is cornerback. I'm going to get to those here in a minute. Okay, we'll get to all that. Please hit the like button. We're going to do a lot of football stuff here. Can't wait to talk to John. We'll get his opinion about the White House. We'll also get his opinion about how the standards team was handled. Sills, I told your ass to wait until after the draft to judge the defense. And as predicted, it looks like the Eagles did just fine. How can you say the Eagles did just fine when these guys don't even have a freaking helmet yet? How do you know that? How do you know that? By what? Who they drafted in the 2nd and 4th rounds? How do you know that? These guys haven't even stepped on an NFL football field yet. How in the world would you know that? So if you draft a guy, Sean, you feel you're set. How would you know? They don't even own a helmet. Oh, we're good now. Told you, Sills. You haven't played a freaking down. You haven't even had these guys in minicamp yet. How can you say that? Oh, look, they drafted these guys. Let me tell you something. Just because you drafted a ball player, that doesn't necessarily mean that guy's game translates. Does he have the philosophical and the emotional stability to translate his game from the college game to the pro game? I did not. So I come from a place of failure. I wasn't strong enough. Okay? I didn't understand the particulars on being a pro. Wasn't physical. Nobody was more physical than me. So when a guy like that says, hey, we're ready, how would you know, Sean? You don't know shit. You think you do. I guess you stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. Give me a break. I told you to wait until after the Jack. See how it looks now? Yeah. Paper champions right now. That's what you are. No, I don't. No, I don't think he's making a major move before training camp. The major move, there's going to be two major moves, Cosmo. You ready? The two major moves are what to do with Goddard and what to do with Davis. Those are your major moves. You've been saying exactly what I've been saying now. How can we now know Jihad is going to be that same player post his injury rehab? We know. How do you know about N'Kobe? According to that other guy, he's going to have a Pro Bowl season. Mr. Paper Mache himself. This could be true, but I don't think so. Hey, Sills, I just answered your question. Keep reading, idiot. Actually, idiot, I am a homeowner. I don't live in a Holiday Inn Express. I'm glad you got that off your chest there, dickbag. Sills, are you able to show tape on players on your broadcast? I don't think so, because that's got to do with content and original content. And like I said before in the past, I'm not jeopardizing my show for a piece of tape. It's not happening. You're a joke, man. Here's Christian. Thank you for the super chat. This guy paid $10 to talk shit on me. You're a joke, man. You hold Jalen to a different standard. That's right. I do hold Jalen to a different standard. I hold Lamar Jackson to a different standard. I hold Josh Allen to a different standard. I hold Joe Burrow to a different standard. Yes, I do. Just because he's the quarterback. Yeah. Listen to this asshole here. This guy paid $10 to answer his own stupid fucking question. You're a joke, man. You hold Jalen to a different standard just because he's the quarterback. Yeah? Mahomes a different standard? You think Patrick Mahomes is held to a different standard than Travis Kelce or Chris Jones? Do you think Josh Allen's held to a different standard? Do you think Lamar Jackson's held to a different standard? All those guys are held to a different standard because they are the quarterbacks, and you're paying them $50 million. Yes. Yet the other great players on the team are leaders and captains too. This guy doesn't get it whatsoever. Stay butthurt over the Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts. This tweet is dumb. I mean, this guy answered his own questions by thinking he was throwing shade at me. You're a joke, man. You hold Jalen to a different standard just because he's the quarterback. Don't you guys? This is the kind of shit you talk about when a guy protests something that they don't even know what they're protesting. Yet the other great players on the team are leaders too. Okay? The last comment here, stay butthurt over Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts, is actually the last thing that might have some truth to it. I mean, what were you writing here? This guy wrote the truth, and he thinks he's ripping me. Man. Seals, you're quite the hypocrite, aren't you? You were all about number one pick Monday night, and now your eyes, he's an unproven piece of... I never said that I didn't like the pick. I said, how do you know his game's going to translate to the NFL? Two things can be true, douche. My God, some of you people, you need, before you post and send some shit to me, you better know what the F you're talking about. I never said I didn't like the pick. I said, I don't have to quantify my topics to you, Sean. You're either here or you're not. I don't give a fuck how you feel. And if you can't listen, son, that's a you thing. I told people this before and I'll say it again. This show ain't for the faint of heart. And if you can't take it, get your ass out of here. Out of here. Kittle, 4 years. Goddard wants to get paid. We're going to talk about that. Okay? Damn, Sills, you're not playing today. No. Because when I have a topic, I have conviction in it. I don't straddle fences. That's how you get hurt. Oh, you know, it's this and that, and this and that, and this and this. Once again, my conversation about what went on at the White House with the Eagles is strictly team-oriented. I don't give a shit about Donald Trump's policies. I don't give a shit about Joe Biden. This has nothing to do with them. You're missing the point of being invited over to someone's house for them to honor you. They didn't invite themselves. You completely are making more of something than just an invitation. Half the team made a political statement. Isn't it funny? It's curious. Entire defensive unit didn't go, but the entire offensive line went. That'll make for a great training camp. Can't wait for that. Yes, sir. Woo! That's how you get it going. I love it. Hey, by the way, any political topic today will not be addressed because this is not about politics. Tell you last time. You make it. Get this. You know, Oprah did do something really cool. And I want to show you guys how many of you in here have been conditioned to be, I don't know, prejudiced. Oprah had a great test years ago. She got a bunch of kids in there. Like, I think they were like 10 years old. They lined these kids up. And Oprah goes to the black kid. What's the difference between this blonde, blue-haired person and you? And she goes, well, they got blonde hair and they got blue eyes. And then went down the list. White kid talked about black kid going, well, he has a great smile and he's a really nice kid. I know we were talking backstage and he likes Hot Wheels. And they were doing this going back and forth. Comes to the conclusion, we're conditioned on race as we get older. Then we start noticing skin color instead of contact of character. And the only time that goes away when you're an adult or you're a young kid is when you're on a team. Nobody sits there on the D line going like this. Here's my black teammate. Only you do that. That's my black employee buddy. Football players don't talk like that. Les, we're smarter than you. Les Bowman, you insult every athlete in America by that tweet of yours. I wouldn't give that fucker to the time of day for the rest of my life because he looks down on athletes, thinks we're stupid, that we're not with any kind of education whatsoever, that we can't follow along and we're not smart enough to make our own decisions for ourselves like we're kids. That guy's a disgrace. Because he looks down on people. He's an elitist. He thinks he's smarter than you. Because he's more worldly. Because he's a writer for the Inquirer. What an asshole. What an asshole. My God, that is so insulting. His tweet is so insulting. I saw that and I was like, this guy doesn't think shit of the people he covers. It's less the guy that asked Jalen Carter if he felt remorse or if he should have been sorrier more. Or was that Reuben Franks that asked that question? It's one of those two guys. Those two guys think alike. Hey, Reuben, I don't really think you're sorry enough for what happened at Georgia. Well, who are you to ask that question? Skills, I learned that in high school, being in a marching band with 50 people. I love that, Kyle. You had to do something as a unit. They become your brothers, like Michael Irvin, right? You can tell the love between me and him. Right? Michael Irvin and I don't have any ideology whatsoever politically, but you know what we do share? That we were on a team together. We ate together. We traveled together. We played together. We hurt. We lost. We grew together as men. I had his back numerous times. And he's had mine. I won't get into some of the things, but I've always had his back. Even when everyone was against him. Nah, that's my guy. Okay? Seals, do you understand that the Eagles' so-called problems compared to the rest of the league is night and day? Not every roster is perfect, but the Eagles' roster is pretty close in salary cap era. You're not at all pretty close. It's a philosophical way of building your team. You're going to spend money on one side of the ball, and nobody gets the second contracts on the second side, which is the defense. They look at defense in that organization as luxury. That's how they build that team. Hey, by the way, once again, I'm not ripping it. 3 Super Bowl appearances and 2 wins in 8 years. I'm not doing that. That's not what's going on here. That's a way you do business. You never get second contracts on the defensive side of the ball. Okay? I mean, it's the way it works. All right. So I'm going to get to the questions here that I have with the Eagles. Post-draft. Let's see here. You're wrong. We're pretty close, 98. Okay. So let's get to these questions here. Post-draft. Dallas Goedert. Start there. What happens to Dallas Goedert? You and Xander took my super out of context. Hey, Anthony, repost it and let me read it again, and I'll read it again. Anthony, you and me are boys, brother. We're good. You know that. Hey, what I love about Anthony is he and I could get into a heated conversation. It's not personal. Some of you take it personal. You know why? Because you're soft. You moan. I mean, we be big old bad Sills. That's what happens to you. Some of you guys are soft. Okay? Me and Anthony are good. What are you going to do with Goddard? Let's take a look at something here. So, hey, Kyle, what was the exact $19 million a year George Kittle just signed? Okay. JD says, I missed this super. JD, we'll get to it if we did. I apologize. You know that. All supers go to the top. Please hit that like button. We'll definitely. On a 2-minute drill, Joe Kraus compared Ty Cobb to Dan Sileo. Do you like the comp? I can't help but imagine how cool for you it would be to play in Philly with Jerome and Reggie back in the day. I'll tell you what was really cool, JD3, is when Buddy Ryan came down. I love that. And I thank Joe Kraus for that. Okay? That's pretty cool. And I thank you. It's a great compliment because I think the kid is an effort player and he's a really good ball player. Yeah, he's a little bigger than me. Uses his hands well, slides his feet. I don't know if he's the tackler that I was, and I don't think he was the playmaker that I was. Like I said, every single guy that you've drafted or every guy that's been in the draft, I did in 1 year what people did in 4. Those are facts. I did in 1 year what most kids did in 4 years and still didn't come close to it. Like I said, I had 100 tackles in 1 year from a defensive tackle position. I had 7 sacks, led the team in tackles for losses, led the defensive line with 4 first-round picks and 1 overall pick, and solo tackles with 50. I had more solo tackles than Jordan Davis had in his entire 4-year career at Georgia. And we won national titles too. So, I mean, but I do like the comp. The kids, yeah. One of the coolest things ever happened, and I've shared this with some of you, is when Buddy came down and coached me, Jerome, Stubbs, Cortez Kennedy, and Russell Maryland. He came down and coached us. And we spent a week with him, and he just coached the defense, front 7. And I thought it was one of the most important times at the University of Miami when Jimmy and him were good friends. We sat there, and he coached us, and he did it 2 years in a row. He did it in 86, and he did it in 87. He came down and coached me. I've been coached by Buddy Ryan. And Jimmy and Butch Davis and Dave Wanstad. Davis said it on here. Buddy came down. We were going into meetings with him 3 times a day when we were going to 2-a-days. He came down for 2-a-days and coached me. And it would have been cool. Okay? And I didn't run a 4.7. Did he run a 4.7? That's great. I ran a 4.81 when I was at UM. Okay, so I ran that 4.81. I don't think he's as strong as me in the upper body, though. Okay? But I do like the kid. I think the kid's got a chance to compete. All right, so let me ask you flat out here. What are you doing with Dallas Goedert? Hey, Kyle, am I right? George Kittle just got $19 million a year, right? For a 32-year-old tight end. Right? Okay. Let's take a look at this. Since 2016, Dallas Goedert, 212 catches, 2,620 yards, about 12 yards a catch, 12 touchdowns in a very substandard passing offense. Dallas Goedert is not in a pro-style offense. He's in a running attack. He's not in a prolific passing game like the San Francisco 49ers are. So those numbers are skewed because why? The quarterback doesn't throw the ball enough. Here's Kittle. 71 catches, 910. This was in 2016 or 21, excuse me. And I took him from 2021 when Dallas Goedert became a starter. Kittle in the last couple of years since 2021, 274 catches, Goddard's got 212. Kittle's got 3,800 yards. Goddard's got 2,600 yards. Kittle's got 31 touchdown catches, and Goddard's got 12. Again, Dallas Goedert's not in a passing attack. So his numbers are exceptional, and I think they're right there with Kittle's. If the quarterback was a better passer, he'd have better numbers. So I see why he's holding out. Never a person I'll always love. I got you too, Anthony. That's why I love talking with you. Just because people don't agree on things doesn't mean you're enemies. Absolutely not. I put myself in others' shoes to see their point. Anthony, what I like to do also is this. I like to I start with a team, and everything goes backwards from there. If it's not team-oriented, then guess what? There's a flaw in the thinking. When you're in a team, the ultimate team sport of football, nothing is individual. Okay? So, Jalen Hurts is not a very good passing quarterback. That's why those Goddard numbers aren't compatible with Kittle's. Because Kittle is in a passing offense. So, we're talking about being paid here. Nobody's talking about winning. Kittle's being paid on his numbers and his impact to the offense. This is where your Super Bowl MVP stuff means nothing. Jalen Hurts' Super Bowl MVP means nothing to Dallas Goedert here. Nothing. All Dallas Goedert's people are looking at is saying, well, our numbers would be better if the quarterback threw more. I mean, we want $19 million too. It's not 10 a year, you dickhead. This guy he's the highest paid tight end now. Okay? Highest paid tight end. Okay? And this is why Dallas Goedert, 4 years, $76.4 million. 40 guaranteed. You see that guy? This guy's trying to bullshit you. That George Kittle's making $10 million a year. What a dummy. Holy cow. It's called reading. Try it. 10 a year. 10 a year? Goddard would have had a 5-year contract extension. 10 a year. Goddard signed a 10-year, a 4-year, $40 million deal. No, Junior. 40 guaranteed, you mean, on an $80 million deal. Holy cow. What a douche. La bala douche. Oh, man. Hurts not good throwing to tight ends, but great blocker. That's right. Dallas Goedert's got the same numbers as George Kittle. It's just the quarterback doesn't get the ball to him and they don't throw to him. They don't. That's why he wants 19. I'll tell you this. Let me ask you something here. How about hey, Kyle, Anthony, if Dallas Goedert was in Cincinnati, say he was in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, what do you think his numbers would be as tight end? I'll write mine down. What do you think he'd be in Cincinnati? What do you think Dallas Goedert would have numbers-wise if he had a decent passer? What do you think? By the way, George Kittle misses games too. I got 85 catches for 1,100 yards. There you go, Kyle. That's about right. And that's why he wants to be paid. And that's why the Eagles and him are on the same page. If I were Dallas Goedert, I would pull a Javon Hargrave, pay my final year, get my $14 million. That's if the Eagles can afford him. And I would I'd put the ball in their court. I'm in the last year of my contract, and I got my Super Bowl. I've got my 2 NFC title rings. I've made my name, and I'm going to go get a George Kittle contract. Let me say this to you. If Dallas Goedert, God forbid for the Eagles, plays in 15 ball games, combined with what he did in the postseason last year, he'll make $18 million. That's why that guy doesn't want to sign a contract that's under market value. Is Dallas Goedert George Kittle? No, not really. But is he in the room? Yeah. Yeah. Okay? Yes. George Kittle, $19 million a year annually. Look at that. What a big time. Good for you, man. 4 years, 76.4 with 40 million guaranteed. Roughly 19.1 million per year. Woo! And the Eagles want him to take a pay cut. When he's right in the room with Kittle and with Mark Andrews. I agree. Let's take a look at how many games that Kittle's missed. Let's take a look at that with him. Since we're comparing, let's see here, since 2021. 3, 2, 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's take a look how many games. And by the way, our boy Goddard played the entire all-pro season this past year and was the top pass catcher. Here's Goddard here. How many games he's missed since 21. I know it's more. Let's just get a good sense of it, though. Since 21. Missed 1. Missed 4, 3, and 7. Came back for the postseason of 10. He missed 15 games. He's missed 6 more games than George Kittle. Okay? He's missed 6 more games. Even as tight end 2 with Wentz, Goddard averaged 500 yards. They can't afford him. Or, which is it? They don't want to afford him. You tell me. So again, one of the question marks I have post-draft, what do you do with Goddard? You're not going to pay him $19 million. Let's say you don't want to get, let's say he doesn't earn or deserve the Kittle. 17? 17, right? He makes 14 now, 13. So he wants to get 17, 16.5 on a new 3-year deal. Okay. 3 years. I mean, over 4, probably come around 70. Eagles aren't paying a guy 4 years, $70 million. Not when you got $50 million on the wide receivers. Not worth it. Okay. Abe says not worth it. So what are you doing to tight end? Goddard playing out of contract might just be how he's playing. If he gets Kittle's contract, that'd be a 3rd-round comp. It's a great take, Bob. Okay? Okay. That could be 2. He gets another 3 for – that would be the 27 draft, though, because he would play this year and it'd be the 27. It wouldn't be 26. Okay? Looking for a trading partner? No, they're not. They're looking for the Eagles to cut him. So then he can be in a negotiation because they believe post June 1, the Eagles are going to cut him. I do too. I think post June 1, they're cutting him. There's no commitment. You don't hear Howie saying this. Hey, we really are working hard to make sure that this thing stays, and he's here. He's saying this. We're not here. We're not there. We're just not there. Howie never talks like that. And there's no other choice. There's only two things. You cut him June 1, or you trade him. Plain and simple. The three things. You keep him, let him play out his contract. You trade him, or you cut him. What are they doing? We're not making this into trying to split the atom here. It's either one of the three. Keep him, cut him, trade him. Which is it? And in an offense that does not use the tight end at all, really, because the quarterback doesn't throw across the middle of the field for whatever reason, they're not paying $17 million a year for the next 3 years, Dallas Goedert. They're going to most likely cut him because teams know that the Eagles are in every single contract. Like the guy in Arizona and the guy in San Francisco, every time those contracts come out, they're $18, $19 million. And Goddard's in that room. He may not be Kittle. He's in that room with that guy in Arizona, though. That guy got $18 million. And what's the one thing you heard Nick Sirianni do a couple weeks ago? You don't have to have an all-in-one tight end. They told you they're going by committee. So in my opinion, the Philadelphia Eagles don't have a plan at tight end right now, except by committee. Dallas Goedert will not be on that football team in September. You know why? And if he is, he's playing his final year out to get the hell out of town. Why in the world would he sign a contract with Philly? Why would he do that? Why would Goddard and his agent, after having 2 runs to the Super Bowl and winning one and being an instrumental part, sign a lesser deal? Why? Because he's an Eagle? How dumb. How dumb. He's going to pull a Milton Williams and a Josh Sweat. You know what that is? Show me the money. Show me the money. Show me the money. That's what he's going to do. Show me the money. So we're going to circle that one. No plan at tight end. See ya. He'll be one of the hottest free agents next year and one of the most pursued free agents because of the importance of the tight end position. Let another good player out of the building. You let Milton out, you let Josh out. Pretty soon you're going to let Goddard out the building. How old is Goddard? Is he 28? How old is Dallas Goedert? Kyle, tell me how old he is. Is he 28? Tight end by committee. So tight end position is not being addressed. All right. You didn't draft anybody, and you signed stiffs. Can't pay them all, baby. We know that. We're watching that. How you doing? So wait a minute. You're getting rid of Goddard. You got rid of Sweat, and you got rid of Milton Williams. You got rid of Gardner Johnson, and you got rid of Slay. Hey, but the rookies And the garbage can free agents are going to fill the slate. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Hey, those are some pretty good players. Shit. He's 30? Well, hell, wait a minute here, man. Kittle just got 19-1 at 32. And he's played how many more? Let's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 6 more games since 21 than Dallas Goedert's played. How you doing? So, tight end, not addressed in the offseason whatsoever, except I know this. You're on the no plan. All right. Let's move on to item 2, shall we? Big old Jordan Davis. What are you doing there? You got till Thursday to figure out what's going on here with Jordan. What are you doing with Jordan Davis? By the way, don't you think if they were in love with this guy, this thing would have been done back in as soon as the season was over? Don't you think that this would have been addressed? Picking a 50-year option up? I mean, right? Don't you think they would have done that? Okay? Don't you think that? Here's my opinion. There's not a chance in hell that guy's getting a 3-year contract extension. No. Ever. Will that guy get a contract extension? Ever. In Philly. Not happening. They may pick that 5th year up because it's cheaper to pay him 11-2. Okay? So I think you kind of address it with Ty in the 4th. Get this. The Eagles addressed a D-line position in the 4th round. I heard that kid on with Birds 365 talking about Ty Robinson, that he's not going to play over the nose. I know. Don't tell Vic where to play anybody, son. Just because you were told that he was a kid at Nebraska, that's not how Vic sees Jihad Campbell. That's not how he sees the Texas safety. That's not how he saw Zach Bond. So anytime you hear people cookie cuttering somebody coming out of college and Vic's your DC, throw all the rules out the window. Throw all the rules out the window. Because Vic's going to find a spot for you that fits your skill set, not what you've been labeled as. Ask Zach Bond. According to some people, and not to take a shot at that kid that was on with Xander, but according to him, Zach Bond would have stayed at outside linebacker, and you would have never known that he was an off-ball inside linebacker because Vic didn't move him. That's not how that guy works. Or how about this one? Putting Q in the slot in the exhibition season. Hey, he could play it. I just wanted to see if he could play it. You love coaches like that. You know why? He is a master at knowing the difference between tweeners, edges, and linebackers, and knowing which guy's skill set fits backer or edge as good as anybody that's ever coached in the league. Okay? By the way, Ty Robinson setting an edge? I don't know. I think he's more of an inside guy because I don't know if he's quick enough to be outside there to play edge. You think that guy's going to replace Josh Sweat? I don't know. I'd have more of a comfort zone of putting Jalix Hunt up there and keeping that guy inside over a 3 technique than I would putting him on a 5 technique. Now, he can play up and down the line, but that's at Nebraska. Bro, when you got to go in and you got to go in the NFC East and play, you got to set hard edges. Okay? Now, do I see them playing him at the nose? No. But I see them looking for players that can fit their skill set. Dude, Moro Jomo might end up being the backup nose. If that kid can play out there on that edge and play the right defensive end spot, he might get that job. Dude, the key in this defense is nobody you drafted in your front seven except Jalix Hunt. Jalix Hunt is the guy to keep an eye on this offseason because there's a chance that guy grows into that role. He's bigger than I thought. He's more physical than I thought, and he's a better ball player than I thought. But then again, it's not hard to not think that because I never saw him in college. Going and finding YouTube stuff on him is impossible. It's impossible. I think Jalix Hunt wins that job out there. Dude, it would not shock me if Jalix Hunt has a better career than Nolan Smith. Why? Because he's bigger. And I know Vic knows that. Seals, are you saying he's a better ball player than no? I'm saying his availability will make him a better ball player. That's what I'm saying. Guys, we're talking shit on Goddard's lack of availability. That's what we're talking about with Nolan. You drafted Nolan Smith injured. And he's been banged up his entire career. I'm not sure he's ever ended a season not on the IR or with a surgery. Okay? And again, I think that guy has a shot. Committed to the run game. Dallas is AJ gone soon. The conversation about AJ Brown will start next year on moving off of him and that contract of his. Okay? So let's go to the next one. So Davis is not getting a no plan at tight end. Jordan Davis, no 3-year contract extension. You're going to pick up that option. That's what I think they're going to do. So that's why moving Nolan to off-ball linebacker, OLB, makes sense. Get him out of the mix where his athleticism takes over. Yeah, you got to play him on the weak side. You can't play that guy on strong side linebacker or get annihilated. It's just the war of attrition will bang that guy up. And not that he doesn't play hard. I'm not ripping that. He won't last. All right. So what are you doing at safety? Let me go over here and take a look at these fabulous safeties that you have here. Let me go here. Team, let me get down to that depth chart. There we go. Couple things at safety. Makuba, what do you make of him? You think he's going to beat out Tristan McCullum and Sidney Brown? He may. He might. Okay? He might. I don't think Vic's drafting anybody who he doesn't think can play in there. And I have complete confidence that he thinks this kid can play. Okay, I want to see it too. I don't believe that guy's going to put his signature on anybody that he doesn't think can play the position. So I'm there with him. Okay? I think, notice one thing. Vic Fangio likes undersized players. I mean, outside of the 2 D tackles, everyone is small. Kobe's small. Q's the right size. Cooper's the right size. Your edge rushers are tiny. All them guys are small. You got small dudes. So he likes that. Why? Because the game's played in space. It's not a physical football team. Oh, wait, I'll take that back. You're very physical. Okay? Or at least you were a year ago. You weren't 23. You were a year ago. And he likes physical football play. Which means what's the most important thing on what I'm saying here? He values speed over size. So when you see this kid being drafted by Texas, Vic will look at you and go, I'll take a fast guy any day over a big guy. That's how he sees it. Okay? So when you're talking secondary and you're talking edge, those guys are small dudes. Okay? And get this. RCC goes, how much does he weigh? 285? He's a tall dude. Sure. He ain't no 330-pound guy. Dude, I got the breakdown on the kid. 300 pounds is good. 300 pounds, 6'6". That's not overly enormous. You know what's overly enormous? 6'5", 350 pounds. Okay? And by the way, that's a great take by Bob there. One of the reasons why he likes fast guys, most of them are versatile. I think that's more what he plays at. He plays at 285, 290. These guys will lie in here just to make anything sound good. Because that's what they do. Okay? Hey, by the way, Reed Blankenship is due for a contract extension. Has anybody heard anything, or is it crickets? Are you going to give Reed Blankenship a contract extension? Well, let me ask you this. What's more important to you right now in a contract extension on defense? Reed Blankenship or Jordan Davis? What's more important to you? Reed or Jordan? What do you think Vic thinks? Don't think. I'll re-ask that question because I asked you. What do you think Vic thinks is more important to his defense? Reed Blankenship getting an extension? And how much? Or Jordan Davis? What do you think? Reed? I'll write this down. That's a hell of a topic. This is why Munden running game on both sides. I love that kid. The kid they got from Georgia. I told you he's one of my dark horse guys. He's better than Trotter. He will be better than Trotter. He's a better athlete, and he's a better ball player. He had a better game tape coming out of college than what Trotter did. I thought Trotter had a good sophomore year at Clemson. I thought he fell off the other years. I did not think he had a very good junior year at all. Senior year, he had a better second half. Okay, but I didn't really think he was special. His sophomore year, I thought he was on his way. But then I started watching him, and I don't see a lot of athleticism. When you watch this kid from Georgia, I mean, this kid is an athlete and played with great ball players. Okay? I mean, he's a good blitzer. He can cover. He's a good player. I Personally, I think he's going to beat Trotter out for that third. How about this? That kid, Mondon, might start the start of the season for you at linebacker over Trotter because he's a better ball player. You know the only reason he went in the later rounds? Because he's not physically imposing. Remember what I told you? Anytime you go from rounds 2 to 7, there's always a chip in the fender. Is he tall enough? Is he not weigh enough? Is he not fast enough? If there's some athletic deficiencies in the kid, there's always a but. When you're drafting in the first round, there's not supposed to be a but. Like here, let me pick a kid. Let me pick Walter Nolan. Great size, great engine. Played really good in a great conference, but he transferred from A&M because he bombed there. He got to Ole Miss, and on his second moves, he quits. There's always a but. That's the Nick Saban rule. If there's a but, let me hear the but. I'd rather start with the but. They give me all the good stuff. I know why he's in the building. All these guys that are in the building now for the Eagles, they got in there because they're good. But, what guy is more important to Vic Fangio? Extending Reed or extending Jordan Davis? I think they extend Reed. He's always around the ball, and he's the quarterback of the secondary. Needs to take better tough or better throw. How about this, dude? Don. He needs to be better. I think what he does is, Philly Don, I think he does exactly what Vic Fangio said he does. He keeps everything connected back there. He's the quarterback of the back end. You're right. I think that's important to Vic. I totally think that's important to him. Okay? I would think that the run defense is important, but I can get away. Jordan Davis is not getting $60 million from me. He's just not. And you think his age? Let me ask you this. If you put Jordan Davis out on the open market right now and you were going to trade him, what do you think you'd get for him? You think you'd get the 13th pick in the draft? Would you get a first rounder for him? No. Would you get a 2? Guy who plays 20 plays? I'm not giving a 2 up for that. A 3 and a 4? Probably. So the 13th pick in the draft is now valued as a 3rd or 4th rounder. What do you think? That's $60 million? Here, let me show you this. Let me take Moro Ojomo. Moro Ojomo was a what? A 7th round pick? What do you think if you put Moro Ojomo on the open market? What you would get in return? A 4th rounder? 5th? That's exceeding expectations. It's a value pick. How about if you put Jalix Hunt on the open market? Jalix Hunt would get between a 3 and a 2 now. You know why he would be more valuable in the open market? If you put Nolan Smith on the open market and try trading him, you're not getting a 1 for him. Nobody's trading for a guy who was always hurt. Same with Dean. Reed lacks speed. He does, which is essential quality. Thus, they selected a safety who possesses speed and instinct. If you think you have a guy that you took in the draft that's going to take Reed Blankenship's place, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. They took that guy because they don't believe Sidney Brown can win the job. This got nothing to do with Reed. This guy right here, Prince, thinks that they drafted a safety to take Reed Blankenship's spot. How funny. They don't believe in Tristan McCullum or they don't believe in Sidney Brown. That's why they drafted a guy. They got an open spot at free safety guy. They don't have an open slot at strong safety. That's a dumb take, as usual, by Princess. L take, as usual. I mean, get this. This guy thinks Reed's going to be beat out by that guy instead of putting the competition at Tristan McCullum and the Mabuka kid. Come on, man. Use your common sense. Try having a brain. So, I mean, are you extending? Giving a contract? What are you doing? So let's see what we got going here. I haven't even got through the list. Tight end, Jordan Davis. This is post-draft questions by Big Cells. Oh, let me know when the man time of the year is not got his obligations and his calendar scheduled. We'll talk more about the Reverend Hurts and the time man of the year here in a minute. Yeah. You know, when you become the time man of the year, you know, you've got other obligations and you got scheduling conflicts. So just remember that. You know, when you're not just a football player anymore, you know, you're the man time of the year. You know, I mean, you got obligations. You got to meet princes. You got to meet activists. What else you got to do? Yeah, you got to go. You got to hang out with certain people. Hey, man, can't hang out with everyone. You know, you're not trying to bring everyone together. You got to hang out with certain people because you can't have that image changed. Holy shit. Hey, if I'm seen with you, dude, that's hands off. So, you know, he's got to make sure. And by the way, you know when they said that guy's unapproachable in the locker room? We got to make sure you clear it with Bob Lang, that you have accessibility to Hurts because, you know, the time man of the year, I mean, shit, not everyone gets equal footing and equal time with Zelensky and with Reverend Hurts. You know, you got a lot of things to think about. Yeah, I mean, you know, Reverend Hurts has to check his schedule. You know, not everybody can be seen with him. It's a big deal. Well, whether it's my team or not, I have an image to hold up now because, you know, I'm the man. I'm the time man of the year. Is that good, Bob? Hey, Bob, put that on my schedule. Let me run that by Nicole Lynn. I'll see if I can, you know, maybe cut a little time for the View and those idiots. Maybe I get that there. I got here. Let me write that down here. More time on the View, less time with my team at the White House. Yeah, okay. It's just the offseason. I'll just make sure here. Oh, and you make sure you pass that note to Devontae, too, because I know he'll follow along. Yeah. I don't know where that came from. I don't know what happened. You know, I just know the man time of the year. Oh, man. Those Sills. If only your words could actually offend me. I've been in the past years, Big Sills. Hey, dude, Prince, I love you. Come on now. Don't start. Look at Prince. Holy shit. Prince's knees wobbling. Prince, you're starting to wobble on me. No, not you, Prince. I thought you had a backbone. Holy cow. Prince is wobbling. This guy's starting to have the shakes like he's an alcoholic. Oh, Sills got me. Holy shit, it's like he's being electrocuted. What's going on? I'm wobbling. Oh, no. Finally, Sileo got to me. What's going on? Holy cow. Oh, man. Hey, Prince, look at this. Hey, bro, I interpret what you write the way I want to do it, not the way you wrote it. You must be in some sort of fantasy world that I'm in the world of Prince. You in the world of Big Sills. You could write something and I could read it completely different. Okay? Oh, man. Look at my boy here. I keep the same energy every day. For the last years, boy, ain't no wobbling over here. Look at him flexing. Look at that guy. That's my boy. Okay, look at this guy here. Here's Spit. Seals, you still mad that Hertz didn't kiss the orange ring? Oh, man. Kiss the orange ring. Is that why you're mad at Saquon? Because you think he did? Oh, I see. So you took a shit on the MVP of the Eagles so that your man just stood up for a guy because he hated. Again, I'm not making this about Trump. You are Spitface. Then why you bring Trump up? I'm talking about a White House visit. And again, man, time of the year. He's got to check his schedule. Because, you know, he's got to go down to South Africa down there and he's got to cure apartheid. Or, you know, he's got to go over to, like, Switzerland and cure cancer. I heard he's on another mission, too. He's going to go over with Tebow and start cutting penises in the Philippines because that's what he does. He's the Time Man of the Year. I mean, you know, he's got a scheduling conflict. This guy's, he's a big guy now. You know, when you start reading and seeing your face on Time Magazine and shit, one of the most influential human beings on the planet. I mean, fuck, right, Sue? Shit, man. People, a pope just died. I heard Hertz is going to be one of the cardinals and the smoke's going to come up and Hertz is going to start giving a sermon there at St. Peter's. Hey, how you doing? It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. Hey, all Catholics, it is what it is. How you doing? Hey, it's going to be green. It's going to be equal green smoke. How you doing? It is what it is. Pope Hertz. Holy cow. Mad time of the year. We have smoke. Yes, the papal doors are opening. Holy shit, it's Hertz. Look at that. The man time of the year. Look at him. Holy cow. It is what it is. Hey, he's got the ring. Kiss the ring. There it is, the bow ring. Kiss it. Kiss it. All my disciples. Saquon blows. Kiss my ring. Kiss my ring. There it is. It's there. It is what it is. It is what it is. Always remember that. Never fade. Kiss the ring. Man, time of the year, whatever. I'm hearing Trump wants Big Dom to take over Doge. You see him punch Big Dom in the arm? Big Dom. Here's a big old red hat. Oh, by the way, he made sure Saquon took more heat. I gave Saquon a big old red hat. Because I heard you love Trump. This guy loves Trump. This guy's throwing more fuel. You see Trump throwing fuel on Dom and Barkley? Holy shit. He should have just had a gasoline can. You know, he goes like this. I told Saquon every or half the Eagle, no, 20% of the Eagle fan base like that idiot, Malcolm Jenkins. Did you hear him? Did you hear him? He was talking to his buddy, Saquon Barkley. How blasphemous. You hear that? Hertz is my hero. Kiss the ring. Man of time of the year. Right? And then what? And then, right? And then he goes like this. I thought it was classic. We have to honor the cicada security here. Do you see Howie laughing in the background and Lane and all them guys? I thought it was an awesome moment. Where's Dom? Said his name, and he goes, Big Dom. He goes rolling out, Mr. President, how you doing? Big Dom getting fuel on him now, too. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. Trump acknowledged him. It's some of you folks. I can guarantee you, the men that are complaining about Saquon and Big Dom have never worn a jock. Or no, they wear a jock every day. You know, it's not that they haven't worn one. They're wearing one now. I think Bill Belichick's wearing a jock. I mean, I think she put it on him. Holy cow, that thing's stupid. All right. What are you guys doing at right guard? So is that Tyler Steen's job? Is that Tyler Steen's job? Time Man of the Year. Yeah. What are you doing at right guard? Who's the starter? Who's the starter at right guard? So here we go. Big Sills questions post-draft. Tight end. Jordan Davis. Safety. Right guard. What are you doing there? Is that Tyler Steen? Or the guy you traded for? Or one of the guys you drafted? What is it? So we're just going to that's by committee too, right? So tight ends by committee. And right guards by committee. Sounds like a plan. What's the line? Say it. Can't pay everybody. All right. So let me ask you this. There's another one. God forbid. You guys get in a situation like you did a year ago where your offensive passing game blew. And one of your top wideouts gets hurt again. AJ or Devontae. Who comes in? Watson. Who's your third wheel at wide receiver right now? Who's your guy? Who's your guy that you feel comfortable throwing the ball to? If one of your top guys gets hurt again, like they did a year ago. John Dotson. That's your number 3 guy? You think you need to upgrade that? Oh, so Barkley is your answer. All right. Well, star of the team and MVP of the team. I get it. Barkley. Leader of the team and the MVP. Not the man time of the year. Yeah? No? So that's Barkley to take over for that, right? All right. So you don't really have a plan for backup wideout. All right. So you don't have a plan, tight end. It's by committee. You're not sure what you're doing with Jordan Davis yet. You're by committee at right guard. Your safety position, you got question marks all over the board. And you don't really have anybody in case what happened a year ago when your top 2 tight end wide receivers went down. You had a guy, Jan Dotson, who they declined the 5th-year option on. Oh, by the way, wait a minute here. I just got a text message. Hang on. Oh, Jalen's going to be meeting with Macron in France. Yeah, they're having some soiree in France. And Macron's meeting them. And the man time of the year is going to be sitting there and, shit, man. You got obligations. And, hey, Bob, make sure you put that on my schedule. The View, make sure you understand. It's got to be cleared through my guys, Nicole, because, I'm a more important person now because I'm one of the most influential dudes in the world. And as long as, hey, fuck my team being in at the White House, man. I got obligations here, and I can't be seen with everybody. You crazy? That's like Big Sills. I I could be seen with Xander and a couple other folks, but I can't be seen with some of you stiffs. What, are you kidding me? Shit. You think I could be seen with Prince? Come on now, man. I'm like Jalen. Man, time of the year. Holy cow. Got obligations. Lot of obligations. Not enough time. Lot of obligations. Got to make sure that, on my schedule, I got to meet with Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, because Nancy will name a bridge after me in Philly. Jalen Hurts Way. They're going to rename the Chesapeake Bay Bridge the Hurts Bridge. That was the ceremony he had to go to because he couldn't be at the White House with his teammates. The right guys were there anyway. True leader of the team. Hurts was off, I don't know, Jamaica. He had to go down there and cure cancer or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. What do I know? All right. But hey, John Morgan at 4:30. And Chris Hinton. Miles Hinton was signed by the Philadelphia Eagles. I love that video of Jeff Stoughton calling him. That's out of respect for the old man, too, which was, I thought, pretty cool. All that being said, guy's doing a super job. He is my friend who got over 17 million views on a take. And now everyone is dumping shit on him. And I love watching him try to maneuver himself through it. You get Mr. Grumpy in the morning too, going, hey, fuck it, everyone, the stupid opinion. I know, John, I got it. The man who is now in line after Angelo Cataldi, Howard Eskin, Big Sales. Here he is, folks. Big Z. Xander Krause. How you doing, man?
What's up, Big Sales? How you doing, brother?
Hey, man. So, all of a sudden now, man, taking a little heat, taking a little fire. How's it feel?
Oh, it feels good, man. It's all good. You take an opinion, you have an opinion and a stance in life. People are going to like it or they're not going to like it, but all good either way.
Absolutely, man. No question about it. So it's 24 hours after the fact.
You know where I learned that from, right? I learned that from a guy named Big Sales. I call him the bad guy. The bad guy, Big Sales.
I like how you've handled it, man, because a lot of people are not going to like, again, what they don't get is people add their own narratives. You're not even talking politics. You're not talking politics, but they don't, you see, Xander, they don't care that you're not talking politics. They want to desperately. Yeah. And that's the magic of Trump.
Yeah, it's
Trump sets traps for people like Big Sales does. Do we set traps? Man, and you know what they do?
Man,
they're sheep.
Dude, though. Holy shit. You put one picture of Trump next to Jalen, and all of a sudden you got 14 million views, and everybody, just suck out all these different. It's hilarious, man. So no, there's no doubt about it. He is funny. YouTube's right there. I've been called every name in the book. I'm feeling like Big Sales, as I said today.
Good update. There you go. What do you make? So 24 hours after the fact, what do you make of the whole? Hey, dude, I got to say this. The positives, I love Big Dom there. I love the entire offensive line was there. I love that Vic Fangio. I think everyone had a good time that showed up. I love that they laid the wreath at the Unknown Soldier at Arlington. I love the whole thing, man. I thought it was a really good moment.
It's a great event. It's a great
for the organization.
I agree. It's a great event, no doubt about it. Watching it was great to watch. I mean, look, I also have tremendous pride as being an Eagle fan. I've been an Eagle fan my whole life. We've won 2 Super Bowls in our existence. Why? That's the other part of it that I think people miss out on is, all right, half the country hates the president. All right, well, half the country likes him. And half those people are Eagles fans. So they might want to get up there and see their guy. Now, I'm not saying you have to agree with that, but I think there's a tremendous sense of pride for most Eagles fans who cheer for the team day in and day out, who've been cheering for the team for 20, 30, 40, 50, sometimes 60, 70 years. Generational type of cheering. So, look, it was great. It was a great event, and I'm happy to see the team get honored for winning the damn Super Bowl because it's a big feat and a big accomplishment. So good for them.
What'd you make of the defense? Pretty much no-show. And what'd you make of Jalen Hurts not being there after the fact? And and the piling on of the hatred towards Saquon Barkley, who was instrumental in you winning that Super Bowl, and your quarterback, like I said yesterday, I don't care how anyone can dissect it. They split the room. They made it political by the people that didn't show and the people that did. The entire O-line showed up. I mean, Barkley showed up. The head coach showed up.
Yeah, definitely a political nature to it for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm over it. I've been dealing with this for the last 14 hours, and I got all these people on my Twitter. I can't even go on my phone. Every time I go on there, there's some dude calling me another name. I'm like, all right, do you have anything to add to the conversation besides that I'm a suck out or whatever the hell you want to come up with? So listen, I think he should have went. I think it's different for the other players. I don't really care about any of the other players. I think as the quarterback of the team, you should lead your team in good and in bad, in preparation and in celebration. And the team was honored on a world stage. Again, people will say to me, oh, it's not a world stage. It absolutely is.
Oh,
absolutely. It absolutely is. People outside of Philly consume it. World leaders watch what goes on at the White House. That is the bigger that is a more broad stage than them going on a parade in Philly or any of those things. So I just would have liked to see Hurts up there. That's all. That's really what.
Why do you think the president of the United States invites dignitaries to the White House so they could be seen on a national stage?
Yeah, exactly.
A world stage. That's what being invited to the White House, whether you're the premier of Canada or whether you are somebody from another country. That's why Zelensky shows up at the White House. Yeah. It's a world stage. You were on the world stage.
I think my boy Shady too brings up a good point too, and he was commenting this earlier. Shady Westbrook Montgomery, appreciate you, brother. He was like, look, I pay for, I'm a fan of this team. We're paying fans of this team. They represent us up at the White House. They represent the fans of the team too, and it would have been nice to see everybody go, not just Jalen, everybody. But I understand that it's obviously turned into what it's turned into, the complex nature, the political. I get it. All right, I'm done with it. I mean, whatever. You guys want to give everybody a way out on everything. That's fine. You can hold that opinion. I'm going to say that they should have went, and certainly I think Jalen Hurts should have went.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it was a great missed opportunity for the guy, and we'll see how this whole thing, if it has any impact. Probably won't, but what you do is what I didn't like about it is that you're painting now Saquon Barkley to be some bad guy. And it's just, I don't get it. I mean, he's friends with Obama and he's friends with Trump. I mean, isn't that what being a celebrity is all about? You meet everyone on both sides of the aisle. I mean, that's what being, I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, that's part of being a leader, brother. You're going to have people you're leading that have different opinions, right? There was 30 guys or whatever it was, 40 dudes who went to that White House yesterday. Do they not matter? Everybody's telling me, he's leading the dudes who didn't go. I'm like, what, the dudes who were sitting at home on their couch? The fuck did they need a leader for? They're fucking sitting at home on their couch. With half the team is being celebrated for their accomplishment. Are you the leader of the team or are you not? Go and lead the team. In a public display like that, be there. Now, a bunch of people are saying he's on his honeymoon. I'm like, where'd you get that? Twitter? I don't know where he is.
Hey.
He had time for Time Magazine. He had time to go on The View. He had time to go to Disney World when it was all about him being the MVP. Wait, the team gets put up there? All right. I think the leader should be there. And I don't have any – if people don't agree with it, that's perfectly fine. A lot of people bring up the Tom Brady thing. I said the same thing. I think Tom Brady was stupid for missing. I think Jalen Hurts should have went. When you're the leader of the team, I think you got to go. But I get you, Boulevard. Brady did skip, and it's obviously viewed differently now than it was back then, obviously because of where we are as a partisan country.
That's right, man. Both The View and Disney, they're liberal places, so probably fit his agenda.
And well, who else was up there, though? Remember. And I think Jalen Hurts is a fine young leader. I think he's a good football player. I think he's been one of the most instrumental players that this organization has had in a long time in the success he's had in his first 4 years. Jalen Hurts was the only one talked about on The View. Jalen Hurts was the only one getting pictures at Disney World. Jalen Hurts was the guy who's been talked about, the Super Bowl MVP. Wait a second. There's a moment for Cooper DeJean to get highlighted on the world stage. There's a moment for Reed Blankenship. There's a moment for Jordan Mailata. There's a moment for Mekhi Becton.
Don't you think Hurts being there at the White House could have given those other guys, too, a lot more visibility where people got a chance to know who Cooper DeJean, Lane Johnson, and some of the other guys on that team were, too? Because when you have a polarizing now figure like Jalen Hurts and a more recognized player like that, when you have – when Mahomes showed up, He didn't like Biden. Gave him a jersey, was there for the team. Anyway, I'll tell you what I'm going to close it with is this. Those two dudes ain't pulling that bullshit on Nick Saban. 2018. You're going to get in your suit and you're going to show your ass up there in the White House with your football team because they're not pulling that shit on him.
Yep.
So it was completely political. All right. So let me throw this at you here. I'm going to go back over because these are some post-draft questions that I have for you, Big Zay. I have some questions here.
I'm liking this draft more and more and more and more every single day. The more I look at this sucker, you lose Gardner Johnson, you bring in Makuba. You lose Milton Williams, you bring in Robinson. You lose in Edge and Josh Sweat, you bring in Jahad Campbell, who can do it all. I mean, this team is looking good. And you know what else is looking real good right now? Is the no-holes defense. It is no longer the Limburg cheese defense. That's fake news. Yeah. That is fake news. And now,
wake me up when they get a helmet.
You have the burden of proof. Last year, they were a crappy defense. 2 years ago, they were a crappy defense.
They got to show they can play.
Well, 2 years ago, they were crappy, so you were right to call them Limburg cheese. Last year, they were the best.
These rookies have to show they can play.
Well, maybe. Let's see.
That's right. Get a helmet first. Then call me. All right. Let's go here. All right, Junior. What are you doing at tight end, kid?
I don't know.
Especially after Kittle just got 19 1 year.
I think they're bringing Goddard back. What are they doing?
Wait a minute. I'm going to show you something here. So since 2021, Goddard's got 212 catches in a shitty passing offense, and Kittle's got 274 in a high-profile passing offense. I don't know about you. One guy played 15 games. The other guy played missed. Oh, these are missed. Goddard missed 15 games, and Kittle missed 9. I mean, guy in Arizona just got 18-5.
I know, but I think the Eagles have. Look, he is under contract, Sills. Like, what, you gonna hold out?
No, I'm gonna go to work like Javon Hargrave, and I'm gonna go bye-bye.
Who, with Goddard?
Yeah, no, I'm going to leave. You ain't got no strings on my ass.
But Goddard's under contract.
There's three things they're going to do right now you could do. You can either cut him June 1, keep his ass, or trade him. What are you doing? It's one of the three.
If they keep his ass, who's got the leverage?
Fantastic. I'll take my $14 million, go in the open market because this guy at 32 just got 19-1.
But you get him for the year.
Okay.
All I want you is for the year.
Oh, okay. Good. So
you're chopped liver to me after that.
There's no long-term plan. No, I get it.
Well, listen, here's where I agree with you is I don't know why they didn't draft a tight end this year because even if you do work it out with Goddard, what, are you going to be in the same position next year where you're wondering, what do we got? Now we better draft a guy. I think they should have brought in somebody to be a developmental guy to be there when Goddard does leave. But ultimately, they didn't do it. Maybe they got different plans. Maybe a 2-year Goddard extension is coming. Who knows what the Birds have planned, brother?
They're not paying that guy $19 million when a quarterback can't even find him in a game.
$19 million. Why? Because George Kittle got $19 million?
Okay.
Dallas Goddard's not the player George Kittle.
Okay. 17.
14.
Okay.
14. 14. Take it or leave it, guy.
14. Take it or leave it. I'll leave it.
All right.
What do you think? What do you think? Honestly,
have fun in Arizona.
What do you think Goddard's numbers would be in Cincinnati?
800,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he's got Jamar. He's got T. Higgins in front of him. They already have a tight end there. I mean, it wouldn't be that big.
You don't think that guy would have 800-900 yards receiving in that offense?
600 here.
Yeah. Joe Burrow throwing the ball 3 times more than
the Bengals
chicken arm Hurts.
Let's go check the Bengals stats before we let Sileo come up with some bullshit. The tight end last year had 665 yards. 665.
And get this, in an offense where the quarterback throws the ball almost 700 times versus a guy who throws it 6.
Yeah, but he barely had any more yards. So Hurts was more effective per
Yeah,
throw
yeah,
together.
I guarantee you. That's right. You're right. He would be worse in
I didn't
Cincy.
say he'd be worse. Stop putting words in
Yes,
my
you
mouth.
implied it. Yes,
No, I
you
did
did.
not. I said it would be
Johnny
about the same, maybe a small increase, but he would lose about 8 wins per season. Take it or leave it. Got
You're
it.
not paid on wins. You're paid on numbers, Junior.
An extra 88 yards to be one of the worst
You're
teams in the league.
paid on numbers, not
Another
wins.
88 yards, and you can go to Cancun a month earlier.
Number 2.
Maybe that's
What
what
are you
God
doing?
wants.
What are you doing with your boy Jordan Davis? You got until Thursday to figure this big one out here.
A couple came down today too. The Chiefs picked up their boy. Both of those guys, they picked up Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis today. A couple other guys who were in Jordan Davis's draft class got him picked up today. So I keep saying to John, he's like, "Oh, it's gonna come." I'm like, "Well, John, if they know what they're gonna do, what are we waiting for here? Right? What are we waiting for?" So I don't know what's going on with Jordan Davis here, but they got 2 days to pick up the option. I think Sileo is frozen up on me. I don't know if he's dropping out of his own show. Oh, no, you're back. You're good.
Yeah, no, what
Yeah, you're
happened
good.
there?
No, you're good. You were just
That me?
frozen. You're good. Yeah, so
Okay.
Jordan Davis got 2 days to pick it up. I don't know what they're waiting on. Don't you think it's kind of messed up as a player? Like Jordan Davis is probably like, all right, are they picking it up? Are they not picking it up? He's watching all his draft mates get their option picked up.
Do you think they know? Do you think he knows it already? Do you think they've told him?
That's what John insinuated to me, that he thinks he knows it, and he thinks that the Eagles knew what they were doing months ago. And I'm like, oh, really? I don't know that. Well, why? What are they waiting for then? Just trying to work out a deal? Maybe they're trying to work out a deal. Maybe they're trying to
work out an extension for him.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Maybe that's plausible. They could be trying to do that. So, but we'll see what they end up doing there. I think it's a tough decision, but and I don't really think Ty Robinson makes life easier after Jordan Davis, because you do have to factor in the guy was a run stuffing machine. He was a good run block. He was a great guy in run defense. So if you lose that, what do you become? And with life after Milton, with life after Josh Sweat, with life after Brandon Graham, how is your team able to stop the run if you take that guy off the roster? We haven't seen that. In fact, it might be ugly. So I don't know if I would make that move yet. I think I'd probably pick up that option on Jordan Davis.
I heard your kid on the show today talking about the draft.
Come on, give him a little respect. Caden, yeah, he was good.
Sure, okay, yeah. Let me tell you, though, the difference that what he does and what Vic does. He was cookie cuttering the kid coming out of college. When Vic gets you, man, I mean, he didn't even know what Zach Bond was. Zach Bond came to the Philadelphia Eagles as an outside rusher. And all of a sudden, he saw what the guy's skill set was and said, I think there's a better opportunity at this guy. If he's an inside off-ball linebacker, let's put him in there, because I think that's because he doesn't put any kind of limitations on the guy, because he looks at a guy's skill set. Same thing with Ty. I think Ty's going to be given an opportunity to win that job with Moro Jomo, but I also happen to think if he doesn't win that job with Moro Jomo, don't be stunned if he doesn't get reps sitting in there on the nose, because he knows how to play it. Is he 340 pounds? No. But he plays with better leverage. And I'll tell you one thing he does better than Jordan Davis. He stays low, and he doesn't play high, and he doesn't get driven off the ball. And what's the most important thing to Howie? It's cheaper. So, I mean, keep an eye on that, dude, because Vic had Q in the slot in the exhibition season.
Yeah, it's true.
Dude, he had James Bradbury at safety. He moved all those guys around, man. That's the magic of him. He doesn't look at a guy, like you said, the kid Campbell. He doesn't look at that guy and go, he's an inside linebacker, because that's not how I see him either. I'm like, man, I'd move that guy all up and down.
What'd you make of that injury stuff?
Okay, here's what I said.
You guys said plural shoulders.
I'll
and
ask
knees.
You think this is the right time to make those gambles when you got more question marks on defense than you did a year ago? I get it that he drafted Nolan Smith and Jacoby injured. I get it.
Is there a guy you would have taken at 31 over Jahad Campbell?
No. But is there a guy I would have took over him that I'm sure would have been there? That would have been my conversation.
Yeah,
Maybe
but like you always say, man, these are lottery tickets. Jahad Campbell was you had four of the 6 numbers already, right? And he's that much better than all the other lottery tickets. I think you got to take that player. I mean, it's best player available. right? You want to fall into the trap of, hey, I don't like Campbell, but so let me just take the
Oh,
guy
I didn't
who
say I
fits
didn't
it
like
better.
him.
No, I know you didn't say that. I'm just saying, in terms of taking the shot, or is the team in that position? Well, if they weren't, I just don't see the alternative. Like,
let me ask you this: if they didn't win the Super Bowl, do you think they make that gamble?
on Campbell, I do. I still do. I think him falling you'd be at 31 probably. So if you lost the Super Bowl, because Lord knows we were going there. The shitty ass Commanders weren't beating us in the NFC title game. What did we beat them? 55-0 or something?
31-32, you would have been somewhere in there.
Yeah. All right. So I think we would have taken them. I do.
And
I mean, now,
31 anyway.
do you think they would have played the offseason differently if they lost the Super Bowl? I don't think they would have played it that much differently.
No.
I don't think they would have signed Milton. I don't think they would have signed Sweat.
I think
they would
their
have signed.
priorities 26 and 27.
Well, there's still a priority this year. You don't pay Zach Bond if your priority's not this year.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that was important to bring back because you had to try to do something this year and make sure you're trying to
Well, you do have $180 million offense stills, as you tell us every third day.
288, not 188, 288. Okay, 288, Junior.
Is that what it is? It's not 288, is it?
Okay, yes, it is. Okay, look, 50 for the quarterback, 50 for the two wideouts. Wait, no, excuse me, 60.
More than that. Yeah, it's 60, closer to 60.
That's 110 with three players. Both your tackles are 50, 25 apiece. Your left guard is 20. That's 180. Your running back is 20. That's 200 million. Your tight end.
Saquon earned that contract.
Your tight end is 13. That's $213 million on one side of the ball and 9 players. How you doing?
Let me bring something up here that's interesting to me from an overall perspective on this Philadelphia Eagles team is, if you look at the way they're building on defense, they're building for the new age NFL, right? They keep drafting these undersized, fast players, high upside, big traits, fast, athletic, good instinct, don't really care as much about their size, right? You look at the offense, they're almost building it like the opposite way.
Counter.
It's like the old school way of offense versus the new school way. So the defense they're building to stop the modern game, yet on the offensive side of the ball, they're building in not the modern game. It's almost the old school game where it's ground and pound, get the big offensive line, get the good running back, and let them take you the distance with a quarterback who only throws 2,900 yards. Like it's John said this on one of our draft shows. He's like, I wonder if the Eagles defense would be able to stop the Eagles offense.
No.
And I'm like, no, they wouldn't.
No, nobody's stopping that O-line. But
no.
you bring the point up of this. What they've done is pretty. No, not what they've done. What they fell into. Because they didn't build this team this way. This wasn't all of a sudden a change that they were building their offense this way when you're paying perimeter guys the way you're paying them. What they're doing now, though, every NFL team got away from being a physically dominant running attack, and they are completely taking advantage of the undersized linebackers and defensive linemen in the game today. And you can see that now. People are seeing that the linebackers in the game are small, they're undersized. The edge rushers, small and undersized. Well, fuck, dude. When I've got the most expensive offensive line in pro football, you got a Ferrari in that O-line. And you're just running people like you're at 24 Hours of Le Mans. You're running people off the track with that offensive line. Let me get to safety here.
Yeah.
What's more important to Vic Fangio, you think? Extending Jordan Davis or Reed Blankenship?
Jordan Davis or Reed Blankenship?
He's also opened up for a contract extension.
I got to go Jordan Davis here. Right?
Even though Vic says he's our quarterback back there.
Well, yeah, that's a good point because he is the communicator on the defense. He is the communicator with the defense. So,
and one guy plays 20 plays.
I think I still want to go with the guy who stops the run. If you can't stop the run, what can you do? Communication on the back end doesn't matter if they're gashing you for 8 yards a carry.
Well, let me ask you this then. Who's the number one most important defender on the team?
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter. Fair enough. Zach Bond too?
Yeah. Last year he was. We'll see if he is this year, but I think he will be.
3.
Is it one of the corners?
Q?
I don't know. It's like you point out, it is zone, so I don't know where the priority comes. It might be another defensive lineman. It might be an edge.
Okay.
Might be what Josh Sweat's role was last year, which is what Jahad Campbell might be.
No. Who right now on your defense is the third most important defensive football player to pick?
It might be Reed. It might be Reed.
It's Reed. Okay.
It might be Reed.
Let's go just to 5. Who's the fourth guy you would take?
Probably Coop. Coop and Quinion, both at 4. Can I put them 4A, 4B?
Okay.
I think you got to have a corner in there, right? I mean,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you got to have a corner.
Okay, so you've got your nickel, you've got your corner, you've got Reed, and you've got Bond, and you've got Jalen Carter. And you want to extend Jordan Davis over one of those 5 guys?
Yeah, probably not. I think you might have just beat me out in that argument in about 8 seconds flat. I don't know how you're going to pay. And I just look at it and I'm like, the old school adage in football is if you can run the ball and you can't and you can stop the run, you can be a competent football team and win football games. I just watched the team have one of the best seasons in history because
you're not wrong.
They could stop the run and they could run the ball. So if you tell me that you're going to get rid of Jordan Davis and then we can no longer stop the run, my mind now opens up to how valuable is Reed Blankenship if you can't stop the run? Like in the defense as it is, Reed is 3rd. But if you take Jordan Davis off that defense, what does Reed become? It might drop down because your defense can't stop the damn run. Now you're looking at defensive linemen all over the board like most teams are. So I don't know. That's a tough one, but I do think, I don't know. It's not going to be one or the other. How about that? They're going to pay them both.
Okay.
I do. I think they're going to pick up the option on Davis and pay Reed.
Who do you think is easier to replace, Jordan Davis or Reed Blankenship?
Man, that's tough. Jordan Davis is a nose. There's not that many of them. Nose tackles don't grow on trees, and most defensive tackles can't play nose. While on the other hand, there are a lot of safeties that grow on trees. But Reed has kind of ingrained himself in our system as our leader, as the quarterback of the defense on the back end. Shit, man. Yeah, I know you're not a fence rider. These are tough to not ride the fence on. Where do you go here? I'm going to go Reed.
Let me go to question 4 now for you. So what are you doing at right guard? Who's starting? Do you know on April 29th who your starting right guard is for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Look at it. Wait,
or does it matter?
Real quick, let me address all these idiots. Look. You bring up one take. One take. Where's this other idiot? Let me find the other idiot. Look, if y'all didn't know, Xander is a racist. I'm a racist because I think Jalen Hurts should have went to the way. And then this guy, look at this nerd. Look at this new nerd in here. Where's he?
Hey, how's it feel being called?
Xander, you only like black athletes. I'm sure you were scared of black men in high school. I know. You got every answer in the book. Stay alert. Stay alert. You sound like a fucking shrimp, dude.
Hey, let me ask you something that I deal with. How does it feel if you have a strong take that somebody calls you a racist? How do you feel about that?
I don't really give a shit because I know who I am as a person. I'm a good person. I treat people well.
You don't have to. You don't have to quantify it. I got it.
People.
Hey,
okay.
You don't have to sell.
Well, I'm answering your question. That's how I feel about it. How do I feel about it? Is I know who I am. I know how I treat people. I know what people who know me in my life think of me. And idiots on keyboards who don't know me can make a take about me all they want. In fact, it just lines our pockets. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother.
I find it amusing, actually. Sorry. I mean, you know why I find it amusing? Because I love to see how people react. And I think you've handled, by the way, I've been watching. I think you're handling it very well because you know why? Seriously, these people don't know you from a can of paint, brother.
No.
With me. Hey.
No, but here's the funny part about it, right? Because I said this morning. I said this this morning. There could be 1,000 things you analyze about Jalen Hurts, right? 1,000 things that could happen in a calendar year, on the field, off the field, at the White House, on the podium, whatever the case might be, right? You can praise Sills 999 of them straight, right? I say, man, I wish Jalen went to the White House. Now I'm a racist. I'm a KKK. I'm not a good personality. I'm like, oh my God, holy shit. Now if I analyze football, if I don't agree with every single thing somebody else does, I'm a bad guy. I'm this, I'm that. Man, shut the fuck up. All you people, have some depth to who you are. I mean, seriously, people say, like, you're just walking a monolith is what you're walking. Seriously, somebody said to me, we're your audience, we're your customers, and we're telling you this is a bad take. And I'm like, so you want me to just give takes that I think my audience agrees with? What is that, prison? I'm not fucking doing that. I don't give a shit if you don't agree with me on one take. It's football. We're talking about football. We don't agree on something. Good, move on.
Remember this, Andrew. If you don't stand for your own shit, you'll fall for everything. You got to stand for your own convictions.
I mean, look at Roland. They want to be racist and black folks should be quiet. Can someone point to me where I've been a racist? I mean, Roland, you want to make that comment? That's good. Justify it. Give me some truth. Give me some on. Like, really, what are you talking about? If you want to put that label on me as a man, all right, publicly on a forum that I built, all right, that where I get views, where I make my money, and where I built a community of people, stand on it. Say something other than you don't like my take on Jalen going to the White House, so I'm a racist. It's a stupid take. In fact, what is your IQ? I don't know. It's just ridiculous, though. I get a kick out of it, though.
Oh, I laughed my ass off at it because it's now what Elon Musk is facing. Elon Musk now goes, I can't understand what the hell's going on. I'm a guy who believes in electric cars, and I believe in, free air and stuff like that. I'm trying to get free speech, and now I'm being murdered anyway. Let me go back to this here. So number 5, Junior. So God forbid one of your big guys goes down, Devontae or AJ, like they did a year ago. Is Jahan Dotson? Is that your number 3 guy behind there in that plethora of great wide receiver
Did you see him
room?
in the Super Bowl, Sills?
Holy shit. I saw him a couple weeks ago, not pick the 5th year up on him. Blow a 3rd rounder.
They didn't blow a 3rd rounder. The guy had a big catch in the Super Bowl.
Look, they loved him. Why didn't they give him a 5th year?
All right, so how would Jahan Dotson have justified that trade to you? 500 yards last year?
Hold on. Jahan, if they loved the player, they'd have picked the 5th
Wait,
year.
here comes statistician Sileo. How would Jahan Dotson have justified the 3rd rounder last year
if they liked him so much?
They weren't. What, are they going to pay him $15 million?
So you traded a 3, which you could have used in this draft, but hey, fuck it. Jahan Dotson, I'm going to decline the 5th year. So how you feel about your wide receiver room outside of your 2 dogs?
Well, I think it is thin outside of that, no doubt about it. But
you think they sign a vet?
Terrace Marshall. They brought him in. Jahan Dotson. What about Johnny Wilson or Anais Smith? You like any of those guys?
Dude, I'd like that kid they let go and is up in Washington now. I wish they would have kept him, the kid they got from Atlanta. Ojalama. What was his name? Ojalabra.
Oh, Zacchaeus?
Yeah, I liked him, man.
I went to school. I went to high school with him. He was good. Good player, man. He's a good player. He's kind of slept on everywhere he goes. Even the Commanders, I think, let him go this year. I thought he was pretty good for them last year. I guess everybody sleeps on him.
Washington let him go?
Yeah, Washington let him go, I think.
Huh. That's ridiculous. Man, I like him. I'd resign that guy.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Yeah. But yeah, he's with the Bears now. 27 years old. He's with the Bears.
He's their 3 wheel now?
I don't know if he's their 3. They got a lot of dudes there, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And how many receivers did the Bears have, for crying out loud?
Look at that receiving room. They got
they got DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. Who else have they got?
I think they let Keenan Allen walk.
Yeah, Keenan Allen's gone. Let me look at their roster real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they
Maurice Alexander, I don't know if he's anything.
Yeah, he's all right.
Miles Boykin, Luther Burden.
Those are a bunch of good dudes. They're not great.
Luther Burden, they just drafted.
Yeah.
That's
a kid from Missouri.
You got DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, and a 1st-round draft pick or 2nd-round draft pick.
Yeah, you're good.
Luther Burden. He's probably not getting much. Olamide Zacchaeus there, but he's a good player. I do like him.
All right, number 6. What are you doing with Bryce Huff and his 18 million bucks?
Bryce Huff, I think you're just letting it go the year. I mean, you're probably going to ride him on the pine and just take it because you don't get anything out of cutting him. I mean, maybe they would go down that route if they think he was a locker room, distraction. I don't think he's going to be that. So they'd probably just ride him out and move on from him after next year. Howie signs 3-year deals, but all of them have an out after 2 years. So you're going to have an out after 2 years, obviously, coming up here. And I think you get out from under it after this year and you let him walk. My question is, does he have any impact at all this year? I don't think Vic Fangio likes him very much. So I don't know if he even does anything for you this year. And that's a killer when you're trying to build a defense right now and cost cutting at the same time.
Will Dean be ready?
Week 4. By week 4 is my latest.
Okay, who's starting at your inside linebacker?
Probably either Trotter Jr. or that rookie Mondon if he really has a good camp. But I mean, he's a 5th rounder. I think you got to give him a little time. I do like the upside on him, so maybe he would be the starter. But I think it's going to be Trotter Jr. I think they like Trotter Jr. a little bit more than people realize. I think he's actually won them over a little bit. You remember they were thinking about going to him when N'Kobe went down in the playoffs. Obviously, they went with Warren Burks and it worked out. But he was up for it, so I think it'll be him to start the year. The other thing is there is an outside possibility that Dean is ready to go. He was ahead of schedule on his recovery. We obviously don't know anything now in the offseason, but we'll see at the start of training camp where he stands.
Kyle McCord, what does that mean for Dorian Thompson-Robinson? You think they whacked that guy?
I think he's done. Yeah, I think he's done. I think he's gone. They traded for him. That trade, looking back at that CJ Gardner-Johnson trade, that was a weird trade. Like, they legitimately just basically wanted to cut him. I mean, that was basically what they did. They traded him for Kenyon Green, and that was a weird trade. And then you had the Pickett. It was Pickett in the trade for Dorian. Is that what it was? You traded Pickett and a pick swap for him and Dorian. That was odd too. So I think Dorian's probably gone and McCord's in. I like McCord though. I mean, he went to he's a St. Joe's prep kid too, which is pretty cool, but he's back. He's a pro style guy. He stands in the pockets and delivers, man. He's the type of guy who will stand there, take a hit and deliver the ball downfield. So I think by next year, he'll probably be your 2. Maybe if you want to trade Tanner McManning.
Yeah. All right. Here's another one. So let's use you for an example here. Big entrepreneur, has a big company, building it up. You got a controversial guy on your payroll and you got a really big person.
I hear about it like 42 times a day.
Yeah. Okay. And this guy is just a fucking monster in broadcast. He's a monster. Xander gives him a new contract. Are you not going to put that out there for everyone to see? Where the fuck is Nick? Where's Nick's deal? It's April 29th. You're telling me they're secretly covering deals? And not if he's the highest paid guy, according to John McMullen, in the history of the National Football League, makes him one of the highest paid coaches in a North American history. Do you realize if you pay him $20 million a year, he will be the highest paid coach in North American sports history of the Big Four? If you pay him more than Andy Reid. Where is this contract?
Is he getting that? You think he's going to become the highest paid coach?
Hell no.
He's not worth that.
No, Angelo's off the he's off the aircraft carrier on this.
Now, here's the question on this.
Pay him something.
Here's the question on this. Never underestimate how much Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman enjoy him as a lapdog.
But they do enjoy being right too.
Well, no, but they enjoy him as a lapdog. All right. They were right on the 2017 Super Bowl, but they had to cut waste after 2020 because Doug Peterson wanted to put his foot in the sand on one thing. Not everything, one thing. Now, granted, there was a couple things that led up to that moment. I think Doug was a big part of the reason they drafted Jalen Reagor, and obviously Howie took all the heat for that. So maybe they gave Doug a little bit of power going into that year, and he obviously didn't do well with it, and they moved on from it. But again, Nick Sirianni's not that guy. Nick Sirianni is not an upset of the apple. He's no Big Sills, all right? He's not upset in the apple card. So I think they like that. I really do. I think they like that. And obviously he's won, man.
To the tune of what?
at the end of the day, though, Sills, he has won. Like,
Yes.
what do you define? What do you judge a coach on? I would
His
judge a
value.
coach on whether he's won
His
and
value.
whether the guys in the locker room who play for him, believe in him. And I've never ever seen an instance where I thought the locker room bailed on him. I really didn't. Maybe you could point to 23 a little bit, but last year, you could tell the players were playing for that coach. And I think that's a big part of it. And you got to look at it like that. And he has won a lot. I mean, I know he's got a good roster, but not every roster that's good wins a lot of games. All right. So I think he's won a lot. And I think you're going to pay him probably pretty close to that 20 million, maybe 18. I mean, Liam Cohen's getting 14. You're not going to tell me you'd rather have Liam freaking Cohen than Nick Sirianni, are you?
I'm trying to figure out his value because to me, I mean, you've had 2 coaches in 8 years take 2 teams to 2 Super Bowls and win them. I mean, someone trying to convince me that the Eagles wouldn't be the Eagles right now if Nick Sirianni wasn't in the building. I think that's fucking crazy. I think they would be the same. Dude, I think the Philadelphia Eagles would have did exactly what they did a year ago, with or without Nick. I mean, it's how they build it. Right. Because one thing that they're really great at? Hiring head coaches. They've never hired a guy with a losing record. Almost everyone has gone to a Super Bowl or won it. I mean, they do make good hires. So what's the value? My question is, what do the Eagles look at him as a value? I happen to agree with you. I think that that's a big deal that he gets along and goes along because in today's NFL, I think that's a standard across the league. I don't think that's just a Philly thing. Okay? Then you have to determine who was more responsible for the team winning last year, Nick, Kellen, or Vic. And if you were ranking them, where would he rank? He would rank
Nick.
Third.
No, Vic, Nick, Kellen.
Kellen Moore got a head coaching job because he revamped the offense to be a running attack.
You think it takes a genius to hand the ball to Saquon Barkley behind that offensive line?
So-called genius in 23 when the ship and the wheels fell off.
They didn't have Saquon Barkley. What are you talking about?
So that's Howie then.
Well, it's always been Howie.
Okay, well then to me, I mean, hey, he would be third. It would be Vic, Kellen, and Nicky. He'd be third, whatever.
No, I got Nick. I got Nick.
So his value is, you think he's the highest paid coach in North American football.
So you think Kellen Moore is going to be a good head coach? You think he's going to be better than Nick?
No, he's not in a better organization. You're telling me you don't think Kellen Moore would have been a good head coach in Philadelphia and would have done the same shit that they did a year ago this coming season if it was Nick or Kellen at the helm? They'll do the same shit. They're going to run the ball. But again, he has the title. The name on the door is head coach. What's the value to that?
18 large.
That sounds right.
18 sheets.
I put him in the room right now, salary-wise, with John Harbaugh and Tomlin.
Yeah, that's where I'd go. John Harbaugh, Tomlin. You're not Andy Reid.
No, I don't think anybody is.
No. So go in there and get that 18 million. I think that's plenty.
You think he's Sean Payton?
I've never been a huge.
I'm not either. I think he's overrated.
I'm not a huge. Yeah.
What's he done without Drew Brees?
Well, I mean, he made Bo Nix look pretty good last year. I'll give him that.
He did.
Yeah, I think he's right in that room too. I mean, what's Sean Payton make? He makes a lot though because he's got the cash.
19.5.
Yeah, so I'd probably go there too. I'd rather have Vic. I'd rather have Sirianni though.
Than Payton?
Does Sean Payton get locker rooms to play for him like Nick does? I don't know. He kind of strikes me as an unlikable dude.
I don't like him. Now, I have personal reasons.
I don't know him. I have no personal relationship. I don't know anything about the dude. Yeah, so I can't.
He was a scab in 1987. He crossed the picket line on us when he was a scrub quarterback, and he crossed the picket line. So I'll always hold that against that guy.
I didn't know that. That's good intel.
He crossed the picket line. He's a scab. So cost me $45,000. So I'll always hold that against that turd. All right. Z, let's read these supers. We got John Morgan coming up.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Fly Eagles checking in. I don't like them calling either of you that. I've been hearing that mess with Sills forever. Have your own opinion, but damn, no race crap, guys. Yeah, it's not, just never ends. It's again,
It's tiring.
I think it's truly stupid. I think people that know who we are know that we're not that.
Because they know people hide under their desk.
It's 2025. I mean, really? I mean, by the way, I was whatever. I'm not going to get into it. Anthony Wilson says, I disagree with Xander and Sills on this topic, but guys, stop with the racist crap. Calling everyone racist makes it hard to call out the true racism. Neither of these men are racist. That's the best take about the whole thing.
I love Anthony.
You take a real problem and you conflate it with not that at all. Prince says, this is how I know Xander. Geez, 3 straight super chats on race. This is how I know Xander is not racist. He doesn't defend it by listing his black friends. Real ones know who's who. Just be a good person, Prince. I judge people on their character, not on what they fucking look like. In fact, I don't give a shit what they look like. Anthony Wilson checks in. Being the Eagles QB is what he does, not who he is. Maybe who he is as a man could not stomach being in the presence of Donald Trump. Well, that's fine, Anthony, but just acknowledge then that he put those personal convictions before, going and leading the team in that moment. You can, again, that's fine, but call it what it is. You put the personal before the team there.
Anthony, why didn't he have the ball sack to go exactly what you just said? I don't want to be around the guy. That's okay. People say that all the time. Big Dom, bring him up here. Come here.
Kyle says 97.5, the reach around segment with Mike and Bill say, yeah, that's an interesting one there.
Yeah,
all right, we got them all.
Hey, what happened to that afternoon show, man, that those guys were kissing up on? Anyway, hey, Z.
I don't care about other people's business sales. I'm focused on what we're doing here on JAKIB Sports, brother. I'm proud of what we're doing here. I think we're building a great community of people from all walks of life on everything, and I love that. I love that about what we have here. We got great shows. I think we have different shows. I think we get different perspectives day in and day out. We cover it thoroughly. So I'm proud of what we're doing here, and I'm focused on that, brother.
Hey, so what about your boy, man, who's walking into the building here, man? I mean, this guy here looks like he's been through, like, the front lines of Korea or something, or Vietnam. Jihad Campbell. This guy's walking in. He's a walking wounded. He's got shoulders banged up. He's got a knee banged up. I mean, holy shit, this guy's rolling in on you, man. This guy's like in a mass unit, man. How do you feel about this guy all banged up before he even gets on a football field?
I think he's going to be all right. I think he's going to be just fine.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to be just fine. Jihad Campbell is going to be a playmaker this year. And I think Big Sills will be giving him his praise a year from now. He'll be talking about
I think he's a great player.
Big Sills will say, you got a player in Jihad Campbell. I think
think he is one. I do. I think he's look, like I said.
You're not wrong to bring up. You can be a player, but if you can't play on the field, if you're not on the field, then you can't be a player. So I think he'll be on the field. I think
he's a player, but he can't stay on. He can't stay healthy.
Well, let me look up. How many games did he play at Alabama? Let me look it up.
Who?
Campbell.
Oh, I thought he played a ton.
But that's my point. Like injuries, I mean, I know he's got some nagging things.
Now, you know what? He could have played a lot of ball games, and this is just the ramifications of him.
Started all 13 games last year. He played in all 13 games in 2023.
So
2022, he played in 9 games, but he was a reserve guy. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Came from IMG Academy, transferred from Timber Creek. I mean, this dude's been at the top of everything he's ever been in. Yes. I mean, he was the best defensive player on Alabama. He was the best guy in high school in IMG, a 5-star recruit coming out. I mean, this guy's dominated every freaking level.
Yeah.
I'm not about to say he's not going to dominate here, but it is a little weird, though. 2 shoulders, 2 knees. The knees scare me a lot more than the shoulders, right? I mean, I see people with knee injuries or knee problems. Like I know people who've had 5 knee surgeries.
I'd rather have a broken leg than a bad knee.
Yeah, right. So we'll see what happens with it, though, man. We'll see what happens with it. I think he'll be all right.
No concerns at all heading into this here. But in here, I think you have the latitude.
I mean, some concerns. It's not at 0, Sills. Yeah, it's not at 0. It's not like.
But I think because they're doing so well, and I think because they're doing so well in the draft, like I said too, man, when you're picking at 31, you know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for value, talent, and I'm also looking for something maybe somebody overlooks. See, the Eagles can do this. A team like the Miami Dolphins or the Minnesota Vikings, they can't make that gamble because they have to have guys go in there and play right now. The Eagles can sit back and do this. Well, we got Dean and we got Bond, we got Trotter. How are we going to use them? Do you think they knew what they had with Cooper DeJean right away. I don't think they did until the kid got in the Minnesota game.
Yeah. I don't think they knew it was going to be that good. I'll tell you that. I mean, Cooper DeJean was a big part of changing that defense around post-bye week. I mean, he was a real player in year one. I don't think there's no way you're telling me anybody expected him to be that good in year one for Cooper DeJean. So now I know here's the thing is we did have the major slot issues in 23. So I think we were all excited for him to get out on the field because of the issues. And they were still there at the start of 24 last year before Cooper got in there. So, but I mean, he really turned it on. So we'll see. We'll see what Campbell can do. I think Campbell can be a great player.
One last thing here on the man time of the year. You think there's any kind of conflict in the locker room?
No, I don't.
With the
I don't.
The man of the year for Time Magazine.
Now, it's one thing I will say. I'm not going to concede, but I'll say that I think this is context that maybe I didn't fully factor in of like I don't know how much this really matters. In terms of Jalen's a leader on the football field. Do I think he should have been there? Yes. But can I also say that it might not fucking matter? I mean, really, it might not matter at all what he did at the White House with what it has to be being a leader on the field with the team in the locker room. Now, again, doesn't mean I don't think he should have went, but I can say how much is it going to matter? Probably not much. I criticized Brady for not going. What did Brady turn into?
Can I make one thing on where it might matter? I remember Britton Covey talking about accessibility with your teammates, and that sometimes it was a little bit harder to get accessible time with him because the Eagles kept people away from him. My question would be is that when you gain status like that, even if you're Tom Brady, you don't have the same accessibility to everybody. Brady went out of his way. Remember what he did when he went to the Bucs? He got all 90 guys' numbers and names, and he contacted each and every single one of those guys because the number one thing that made Tom Brady the greatest player of all time, in my opinion, is that Tom Brady was the greatest teammate of all time. I've never heard a guy, unless it's a lunatic like Antonio Brown. Have you ever heard anybody talk shit on Brady as a teammate?
But he was definitely a certain type of cat. He was not probably not.
I want to pattern myself after.
He was probably not an easy guy to be teammates with. Like he probably
with all the fame. No.
Yeah, probably pushed you. Probably expected excellence on every rep. Remember, there's a lot of dudes probably going through the motions out there. It's just the nature of any workplace. Not everybody's going to be as serious as everybody else. So I could see that too. But yeah, I hear you. I see what you're saying.
I mean, so again, that would be just for me something. Do I think it makes him where people aren't going to go in there and know that he's their guy and all this and that? No, but I think it makes for a really interesting dynamic where Saquon Barkley is there with his team in the offensive line. Hurts is not there with his O-line. I think that's a bad look. Let's just take the White House and everything out of it. You're not there with the people that made you. The people that made you, Jalen, are the guys in front of you. That team is built by that group of men. And you know why we know that? Look at the money. Look at the draft picks. There's Hall of Famers. Bro, there's more Hall of Famers in your O-line than there are at any other position on your football team.
Who wins the right guard spot?
Great question. I would say
I can't say I'm not stolen on Tyler Steen.
Oh, I don't think he wins it. I think the guy who wins that job, it's either going to be the guy in Houston or one of the kids they draft. And it's not going to be that kid Kendall. It'll be the kid either Hinton or it'll be the kid from Houston that will win that, and they'll swing that. Trevor Keegan.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on Keegan yet, Daz. Like he didn't play last year. I haven't heard anything, but maybe. I mean, obviously he's going to be a part of the competition this year, but I don't know.
One last thing before he gets you out of here. John Morgan's coming up.
John's coming. He just texted me. Here he is.
Before I ask John Morgan this, there's our friend. He's getting ready. I'm going to ask you because I'm going to start this off with John. What'd you make of that whole thing that the NFL owners took Shedeur Sanders off the board?
Yeah,
according to Boomer Esiason, and we're getting on tomorrow.
Yeah, it's one of those situations too where there's so much information around it. You don't know what's real and what's fake. I think Shedeur Sanders is obviously a lot better than a 5th-round quarterback. I told you all up to the draft process, I would have taken him. I liked Shedeur Sanders leading into it. And I don't know what happened there, man. 5th round?
His dad polluted it.
Yeah, well, I guess so, but I wouldn't have let that pollute it. But I understand that it's a complex thing. It's a big business. It's a billion-dollar organization. The quarterback is the face of the football team. You know, you bring that guy in. I think where it got hard in round 3 is if you're bringing him in to be a backup, now you got to bring it like, you know, people talked about the Eagles.
It's a circus. It's
Yeah,
Tebow.
you want that circus at the backup?
Tebow faced this. You know why Tebow didn't have a backup career? They didn't want the circus of Tebow going, put the kid in. They didn't want to have that. All right, Xander.
Appreciate you, Sills.
By the way, Chris Hinton is going to join us at 5:30. The 8-time Pro Bowl, 7-time Pro Bowler, got more than Lane Johnson, and his kid was drafted by the Eagles. Miles Hinton will be on with us at 5:30. Great stuff, Xander. Appreciate it. You got it, man. By the way, tomorrow, as I said, Boomer Esiason is going to join us along with the great Marcus Hayes from the Philadelphia Inquirer. You know the great thing about John Morgan? John Morgan, if you go on his Twitter page, it goes from politics. And I saw something with John. John does, you know, I had a great fortune of meeting Bill Clinton at John Morgan's home. I showed you guys the invitation, the blue invitation that I get. I used to get invitations all the time when the president showed up at John. I saw John, he was standing next to Ron DeSantis. Completely two different dudes when it comes to philosophical ways and how you see things with people. The right and wrong for Florida. John's got a completely different opinion of DeSantis, but he's there with him. Why? You know why? Great people and great statesmen try to get to the center and get 75% of what they want to get accomplished, knowing the 25% is what you're giving. That's what makes you a great leader. And before we get to Shedeur, I want to get John's take on the White House. Let's bring him up here. How important is it? Hey, John, how you doing? I appreciate it, my friend. Let me start this out with you. Yesterday, Jalen Hurts didn't show up at the White House, and Saquon Barkley did. Now, John, he had played golf, Barkley, a couple months earlier with Barack Obama, really a great friends with Obama. He loves Saquon Barkley. He was playing with the president, and I keep bringing this up. People forget that Saquon's uncle is Iran Barkley, the former middleweight champion of the world that fought at Trump's casinos when there were casinos in Atlantic City. So he had known him for a while. There's a lot of hatred right now for Barkley. In your opinion, the White House and the visits, how do you look at that on teams and players making political issues and statements out of going to the White House?
Well, what I believe is the First Amendment is the right to free speech. Encompassed in the First Amendment with the right to free speech is the right not to speak. So Jalen Hurts decided, I'm going to not speak. That's fine. That's what the First Amendment is. Barkley has decided that he is going to go speak. What his relationship is with Trump, I don't know. I understand why people might be mad at him for going because they're mad at Trump. You know, there's people that were mad at Obama. The one thing I found, Dan, is that everybody has a target on them. Look, when the Pope died, there were people taking shots at the Pope.
I know, I saw it. It was disgusting.
So I'm like, you know, so I don't feel so bad when people take shots at me. I'm like, well, hell, if they're taking shots at the Pope. So I don't criticize anybody. He is the president of the United States. The one thing I will say is, you know, first, I did not support him, but I didn't support her either. It was like a race to the bottom for me. This is the president of the United States. And the one thing that I would say is we have to be pulling for him. Because if we're not pulling for him, we're
Amen.
Pulling against ourselves. And look, would he have been the No. Did I support Joe Biden from up in your area, from Dell? Yes. Was Joe Biden at my house? Yes. But against Donald Trump. But I'm not mad at Barkley. I'm not, you know, Jalen Hurts did what he did. It's all part and parcel of the First Amendment, the right to speak and the right not to speak.
You know, I had the privilege, John, as you have, you stayed in the White House. You know, I had a chance to go back in '87 when President Reagan was there. And, you know, I went there because they were honoring my team. And I thought, as the face of a franchise, don't you have different responsibilities, John? You're not just a lawyer in your firm. You have an identity that people look at Morgan & Morgan and they see you. There's different responsibilities that come with being a leader of your team and of the people that you're leading. Don't you think? I mean, you know, somebody was saying, well, the other guys, there's a lot of guys like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith didn't go. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. That's not the role that those guys are in. John, you're in a different role than you are with some of your lawyers that go across the country defending families. You're the leader of those men. Don't you think you have a different responsibility to that team to represent your company and make sure that I may not do shit that I like, but sometimes I have to? Don't you have to have that ideology too a little bit if you're a leader?
Well, you do, but let's don't go too fast. Jalen may have thought, this is how I'm going to be a leader. I'm not going for all this bullshit. I'm not going for all this race baiting. I mean, look, this election was about DEI. DEI is now DEAD. This was all about woke. This woke is now asleep. This was about affirmative action. Affirmative action to many people was reverse discrimination. But there's a huge racial component that went into that last election. And I've said this before on CNN and Fox. We were involved in a race war. There are people who are marginalized on the left. There's people who are marginalized on the right. And they all believe that they are being oppressed. So I can't get into their heads, but I'll tell you this about Jalen Hurts. I don't know why he didn't, but I think Jalen Hurts is a leader. And I think he's a man's man. And I'm not going to ever say, you know, go in there. That's one thing. You know, I don't think he had to. I don't think you ever have to compromise your principles and your thoughts. And Barkley didn't think it. And they're both great. But I think Jalen Hurts is a leader amongst leaders. And I think to me, he's the class of the class.
John, do you think this is more social media than that Pitts? Because, as you said, you know, the art of debate and the art of having conversation is seemingly dead in our country today. That one guy can have that direct polar opposite opinion, and two things can be right? Barkley can be right, Hurts can be right, but why has that become today where it's so easy to go to the low-hanging fruit where you go, well, if you support Barkley, he's turned into, you know what people call folks that do that, and you turn around the other guy and you go, well, if you support that, you're a racist. I mean, is that because it's the product?
Well, look, talk, you can't. Listen, Bill Maher went to have dinner with Trump. Larry David wrote a letter to the New York Times called "My Dinner with Hitler." Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
So you know, Bill Maher's now catching hell for going and meet. You know, Bill Maher, he's the president. You know, you got, you know. So, but the country is so the last time this country felt like a country to me was the day or days after 9/11 when George Bush had the megaphone at 9/11 and 91% of the country supported him. We are so polarized that if you say I want to compromise, the word compromise is not allowed to be used. On the right and on the left, it's all or nothing. I want it all or nothing. In my tech office in Brooklyn, I have a sign when you come in, and it says, done is better than perfect. And guess what? Let's just get something done. Let's get something done. So because of social media, we can hide behind keyboards and say outrageous things about each other. But when they come up to me on the street or to you on the street, they never say shit to you that they type. They never do.
Yeah.
But being anonymous gives us the power and the courage to say and do things that we would never do. So social media has that, and that's why, you know, that's why movie stars and sports stars probably don't read too much, because, and you don't know, Dan, in this lane, you don't know if they're all bots or not.
Yeah.
There could be 1,000 comments and 900 could be bots, that not real people. Listen, one time when I didn't support Kamala Harris, I was getting stung by this, what they call it, the K Hive. They were pissed off at me.
Well, you pulled $3 million, didn't you? If that was the story I heard.
I didn't pull $3 million. I'd already given $3 million. I just said I'm not going to give any more. I said you can keep it. I thought she was the wrong person at the wrong time. I thought there should have been a convention. We should have had the best of the best. When she ran for office, she got no votes. She only got 8% in California, where she's from. And I said it then, I'll say it now. She's going to lose. And if she runs again, well, she's not going to. If she runs again, she's not going to win the nomination. I just wanted, what I wanted was democracy, to believe in elections, and that for the best person to win. I didn't think she was the person that was going to give the Democrats the best chance to win. And I was right. She didn't get beat. She had her butt beat. I mean, it was an electoral land. But here we are. Donald Trump is our president. He's only been there for 100 days. All I can tell everybody is buckle up. Now, on the meantime, I am opening up bank accounts in Switzerland because I'm scared.
I remember one comment John used to tell me. I'm a man that tries to get to yes, not get to no. He used to tell me that all the time here.
Right.
So let me get to this one here.
I also told you this. No means yes.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Nobody's more dogged. I mean, you don't know, the word no doesn't exist in your vocabulary.
Absolutely not, because
no means yes.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I refuse to surrender. I will never let go of the rope. John, let me ask you a question about Shador and this story and what you witnessed and what the country witnessed. It became so polarizing over the weekend. You had, once again, you know, it became a racial issue. It became whether the kid was good enough. It was a media issue. How did you see this whole Shador Sanders story as it unfolded this past weekend?
Well, look, everybody always wants to make it, you know, a race thing. But who was the number one draft choice?
Cam Ward.
Okay. The number one. You know, who was number two?
Right. Abdul Carter. Oh, Travis Hunter, excuse me.
From
Colorado.
Okay. So, look, we can do it. We can try to make it Colin Kaepernick. You know, we can do that. Stephen A. Smith is out there ranting and raving because he's trying to make up for his LeBron shit. You know, he pooped in church with LeBron, so he's trying to, you know, overdo it with this. And I love Stephen A. Smith, but he's like on a makeup tour to show how. But look, Deion Sanders is Deion. We love him. If you don't love him, you hate him. And these owners, they are, most of them, almost everyone are not athletes. Most everyone probably struck out in kickball in elementary school. Have you ever
Born
seen
on third base, right, John?
with a silver spoon stuck up their ass? When I see those people, the Kansas City, you know, the Ken and Barbie owners, I'm like, come on, man. Come on. Come on. You're going to tell these. But so you got these owners, and these people want to have people that are humble. Well, Deion ain't humble.
No way.
And the son is right out of his ilk. And so here's how I look at it. I think the Sanders should have toned it down a little bit. I know Jimmy Haslam. Dee, I don't know if you know his wife, Dee. His I have a bunch of businesses in Pigeon Forge in the Rocky Mountains. Attractions. Me and Guy Fieri have a place called Downtown Flavortown. So I got to know Dee in Tennessee. Her father, it's amazing. Google Dee Haslam's father. He was the producer of the original Today Show. He had those. He had Charlie McCarthy and those puppets. It's unbelievable. So I know the Haslams.
John, is it like the one in Orlando, that amusement park, that you have in Orlando? Is it like that?
Yeah, it's called Wonderworks. The house is turned upside down. Yep. I have Wonderworks. I have, I own a piece of Margaritaville with Jimmy Bubs. We have a Margaritaville hotel. Yep. We have Alcatraz East. We have Downtown Flavortown. But the Haslams are Tennessee. They had Pilot, the big trucking place. So I got to know Dee. I got to meet Jimmy through Dee. They're fantastic people. Here's what I think. I think that Jimmy Haslam got the steal of the draft. Because here's the deal. The guy is talented. Look, He's talented. Here's the question. Can he tone it down? And the thing we don't know that you read about, are the short passes too wobbly? I don't know. But here's the good news for the Sanders. They got money. Deion's got money. He made money.
Hopefully we're able to connect here with John again. I think we're frozen here a little bit.
Do we freeze? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I got you now, John. You're back.
I think this is going to be the very best thing that happens to this kid, because now he has been humbled. And I tell you what, I think he handled it well. When he got drafted in the 5th round, instead of throwing his stuff down, he was still dancing. And I used to tell my kids, never let them see you sweat. You did not see him sweat. He was dancing. They were all dancing. But I think it's a great thing for him. It's not like he needs money. He's got money. His daddy's got money. But now here's the deal. He is so motivated to show everybody that, hey, you made a mistake with me. You made a mistake with Tom Brady. You made a mistake with the kid from the 49ers. You have given me the fuel that I need to show all you know what's. You were wrong. And no, I'm not humble. The reason I'm not humble is because I'm great.
I like that.
And he has that opportunity. And it's not like he's going to miss, any meals. It's not like he's going to lose his house. He's going to be fine. Deion's going to be fine. You got to look. I say this all the time. Sometimes bad luck becomes your best, becomes great luck. And so I don't know what happened. They want to turn it into this collusion and the owner. That didn't happen. They want to blame it on Brady, that he didn't pick them and the Raiders could have picked them. That didn't happen. What happened was he didn't work out some places. Deion said he wouldn't play for the Browns. Isn't it ironic? That's who drafted him. But it's a learning experience. I'm a Gator, but I love Deion Sanders. I love watching him. I love hearing him. And I think he's learned from this. And I'm pulling for this kid to do great because I'm old enough that he is a kid.
John, you're such the right person to ask this to, because I keep telling people, and people go, well, it's racism, it's this and that. I go, man, those guys, those NFL owners like Jerry Jones, they're racist, all right, to one color. It's green. Anything that makes money, John, they're not looking anything that can help that bottom line. They are about winning. They will cut their throats to win ball games because that's what billionaires do. Dude, billionaires don't get in a room looking to make good deals with each other. They're looking to get the advantage on somebody because that's who they are. They don't change their stripes like that. That's how you become a billionaire. These guys are all about winning. I mean, there was no collusion in this, John. This is about winning, right?
Well, it's about winning. Listen, you know this. I was partners with Johnny Cochran in his firm. And I was pallbearer at his funeral. Johnny used to say about our business that the color of money, the color of justice in America is green. Well, the color in the NFL with these billionaires is green. Ask yourself, of everybody drafted, how many were black, how many were white, how many were Samoans? And it's going to be disproportionately African American.
26 of the 32 first rounders were African Americans.
So I don't buy into that. And I also tell you this, whatever you call racism, you take away from real racism.
Right.
You take away, listen, I'm in the business, Dan, of representing people who've been discriminated because of race, sex. But if everybody that gets fired says, I got fired because I was a woman, it takes away from legitimate claims. So I don't believe it's racism. I believe that these owners and these general managers want to control the locker room. They know Dion's going to be there. They know that the kid was coming in hot. Now he's been cooled off, but he loses nothing. He's in the best position to show everybody. Look, is Deshaun going to ever play again even? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So he's gone. And I think that this is going to turn out to be the story, which is it was the greatest thing that ever happened to him. And sometimes bad luck becomes your best luck. And that's what I hope and pray happens for this kid, because he is very talented. He's very talented. He didn't slide off the board because, like you say, look, back in the day when the Boston Celtics, which is supposed to be the most racist city in the world, guess who had the first black player? Boston. Guess who had the first team with all blacks?
Yeah.
Boston. Guess who had the first black coach?
Yeah.
Boston. Guess why? They wanted to win.
Hey,
they wanted to win. They wanted to win. So it wasn't about that. Listen, there's some shaky guys that and I'm not going to talk about, that have been drafted in the NFL who did a lot of stuff before they got drafted, but they were there because they could win. So
that's right.
That's the thought.
How about this here, John? Let me ask you this. You're so huge in sports, and you've been around that Gator program for so long. Let me ask you about Bill Belichick. Would you send your son right now to Bill Belichick? And I put this out there as gently as I could. Can you imagine recruiting in Florida in a single black mom's home where many kids are getting recruited, walking in like that after that display? And those moms are so guarded with their children. You're not getting that crap by that. There's no way. I mean,
well, just tape this. Bill Belichick will last 1 year at North Carolina. Just book that. He's not going to make it. Look, Dan, I own a lot of nursing homes in Florida. I don't know if you know that or not.
I do.
The first thing I saw when I was looking at this is like, is this man in the early stages of dementia? And I'm not just saying that.
I know you're not.
You remember that old man that had Anna Nicole Smith, the billionaire?
Yes. The oil man.
The oil man, the big blonde with.
Yep.
That's who I thought of. I thought Anna Nicole Smith. First of all, not to be embarrassed. I mean, out there with the fishing pole and her dressed up as a mermaid. And then I found out, she was a cheerleader, but I never even heard of the school. What was the school? Cheering what? I don't know. Did you know the school she went to?
I don't even know where she parachuted in. They say they met on an airplane.
Well, then during the CBS interview, they asked him a question and she shouts, you saw the clip, don't answer that question. And he turns around, I'm not going to answer that question. And he's sitting there with this sweatshirt with holes in it. Looked like moths. He needs to get some mothballs in his closet. These holes are in there, and he's looking over to her for direction. And then he's denying that Kraft fired him. Kraft fired Bill Belichick.
He did.
He's saying it was a mutual decision. It's like this. Every time somebody gets divorced, have you ever noticed it was mutual?
Yeah.
And we're still friends? No,
Yeah.
you're not. You're not still friends.
I've never met anyone that went through, hey, that was a really great divorce.
Yeah, we still love. But I will say this. After watching Belichick, after watching this, I used to think Belichick might have been a real genius. I lean more and more. He was lucky to have Tom Brady. He was lucky to have Tom Brady because – so I agree with you. I think – I don't care who parents are rich, poor, or medium. I'm not going to send my kid off to that guy. If that's what he is about. Look, how old is he? 74?
70.
71.
71.
Yeah. So thank God he's older than me. But it's borderline obscene.
It is.
It's borderline obscene. And it always gets down to this: judgment. But that interview with CBS, and by the way, CBS, they decided to play that in that outtake in the show because it kept happening.
Yeah.
It wasn't a one-off. She's over there. No. There was a clip today. She's on the field at practice.
I know.
She's on the practice field. I'm like, listen, coach, go home. Stop. You're a Hall of Famer. You won all these Super Bowls. You are now destroying one of the greatest legacies. We're never going to remember his championships. We're never going to remember.
No.
We're never going to remember his days in New York. We're never going to remember his days in Cleveland. We're going to remember the day that this 72-year-old dude was dating a 24-year-old girl and just, said, I don't even know how he's able to do it with a straight face. One time, I'll tell you a funny story. One time I'm at a dinner at the Italian embassy, and Nancy Pelosi had just been elected speaker. And we're at our table. John Kerry was at the table, the Secretary of State, and my daughter Kate and me. You've met Kate at my house.
Absolutely.
Kate's 38 years old. And so John Kerry's looking over at us. Tony Bennett was at our table. He was singing that night. I left my heart in San Francisco. So John Kerry keeps looking over at us, and my daughter Kate goes, hey, Senator Kerry. He goes, what? She goes, I just want to tell you something. He's my dad. He's my dad. Because she didn't want there to be any misunderstanding. And I'm like, yeah. And so she pulls out, she had this store called the Violet Clover, and she pulls out and gives her Violet Clover card to Senator Kerry. He goes, oh, well, thank you, Kate. Because,
Was Ultima there?
No, because Kate was my date.
Okay.
So Kate was my date. Clinton was there. But we're at the Italian embassy. But Katie was so attuned. Like, does he think that this old man, and said it, Senator Kerry, this is my dad. And the funny thing, the next day we got up, we're at breakfast, and she starts laughing at breakfast, and she goes, I go, what are you laughing about? She pulled out one of her Violet Clover cards, and she goes, can you imagine when he's going through his pockets today and sees this Violet Clover business card? And look, I'm younger than Belichick, and Kate is now 38, and she was embarrassed with that age difference.
Oh my God.
So I can't explain it. I mean, I think I understand why he might be doing it, but it really makes me question the mental stability. And look, I'm 69. I'm forgetting shit. The other day, I was trying to think of the name of a restaurant. I had to Google it. I'm like, whoa. I mean,
don't believe this bullshit right here. I don't believe he forgets nothing.
Well,
okay?
But it happens. But I'm telling you that North Carolina, I thought it was going to be hard for him to recruit anyway, even with NIL.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm not – listen.
No way.
When you're sending your 18-year-old off,
No
that's the father figure. These
No way.
coaches figures. And I don't want that father mentoring my son if that's who he is. As Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Bill Belichick has now showed us who he is. He had a lot of great years. He really should have just gone away or waited for a head coaching job in the NFL. And I would have kept it secret as hell.
Absolutely. John, finally here. You know, I gotta bring this up because we had Dan on. And I gotta ask you, man, I think he let something out of the bag on you here.
What?
So I kind of pressed him on something. I go, is your old man, is he buying some land up with Grand Hill? I'm hearing some little birdies in Orlando that are trying to buy some land up in Orlando, and they're trying to move the Rays over to Orlando. And Dan goes, who told you that? I go, hey, I know folks too. I know, buddy, the mayor of Orlando very well. And I go, I had Johnny kind of like talked about it a little bit. I go, I'm working in a group trying to buy and move the Rays. And he goes, did John tell you that? I go, no, I can't, because I know you know him, so I'm not going to lie on this one. Usually I would, but I'm not gonna. So he started smiling with me, and I'm like, okay, so I got to ask John. John, are you in the process of potentially being a business partner and trying to get a group together to buy the Rays?
Well, I'll tell you this because it just happened a second ago. This story just broke while we're on this. Barry Larkin has been a friend of mine for a long, long time. Barry Larkin was one of the great players, Hall of Famers,
Great
shortstop
red.
forever. Before he died, Pat Williams from Philly.
Love him.
Pat Williams takes me to lunch down here, a place called the Tap Room at Dubstred. You remember the Tap Room, Dan?
Absolutely.
So Pat Williams takes me down. And he says, look, here's my dream. We buy this piece of land right next to SeaWorld. We move the Rays to this piece of land. We call the team the Dreamers. We call the field of Dreams. It's Pat Williams. I was intrigued for a lot of reasons. The main reason I was intrigued was because the Orlando Magic are the sorriest franchise over the last 25 years since Shaq left of any NBA team.
The DeVos family, a lot of question marks.
But here's the great news for Orlando. Still are like 7th in the league in attendance. Why? Because tens of millions of people come to Orlando from Detroit, from Philly, from Boston. And when they come to see Disney and Epic Universe and all that, if their team is here, they'll go over and watch them beat the hell out of the Magic.
That's right.
Now, Mosley, he's a good dude. He lives across the street from Matt, by the way. He's an excellent coach. But before him, it was like they were like the Washington Generals. So you just come and watch your team clean them up. They were 7th in the league in attendance when they sucked. So right. I like that idea. You put it right next to SeaWorld. I also have attractions and hotels over on iDrive. It's right there in the corridor. It's right next to the new theme park that Universal's put it in. So then Pat died. Pat Williams died.
Yep.
And I thought, well, there goes that. And then the next thing I know, Barry Larkin has has got back with Pat's people. He's come to me. They need like $1.5 billion to do the whole thing. But they'd have to buy the team. So what I've told, and you can read about it, it's just printed in the Orlando Sentinel, just sitting here, that yes, I have told Barry Larkin that I will be very interested in investing a significant amount of money as one of the lead investors. If he can get, I would not invest in Tampa. I was invited to invest in Tampa. I think Tampa's a dead end. I think Orlando's tourist population makes it a no-brainer. Tampa, even though they won World Series, they've still struggled. Miami, terrible baseball town. This is where it should be. baseball should either be here or Las Vegas because of tourism.
John, is that why? Are you taking the model like what the Raiders did on the other side of McCarran, building that stadium and moving there? Where they've got a built-in population that comes to Vegas all the time from all over, and you're kind of seeing a little bit of that being implemented where you're going to have a built-in fan base.
I'm seeing it, listen, exactly like the Raiders. You move to a place like Vegas with all the tourism, and then you got the gambling. But it's the same thing. All of a sudden you're moving here and you're getting – here's how important Orlando is. Most people buy national ads, but there's so many people come here. National companies buy local ads in the Orlando market because they're touching so many tourists who are here from all over. This is a unique city. The only city that's like this as far as tourism goes is, to your point, Las Vegas. How much they want me to put in. There's another guy that owns a big dental clinic across the country who is willing to put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars maybe. But if they move it from Orlando, if they move it to Orlando, if Barry Larkin is the face, and if they get that piece of land that Pat picked out, I'm going to put a significant amount of money into the Dreamers and the Field of Dreams. But they got to buy the team from – and the reason I like it, Dan, is I know baseball. I got a small sports agency, as you know, in baseball. But the reason I like it is not because I like baseball. I like it because I like money. And, and here's the thing. I think that this franchise – if they could buy the Rays for what they're worth, which is not much, and move it to Orlando with this, I think it's a tremendous investment opportunity. So, but Barry Larkin, he's coming up here on May 7th. He lives down in Boca. He plays golf every day. And he's coming up here on May 7th, and we're going to sit down and hash it out and chop it up, and we'll see what happens.
Man, I got one last one for you.
All right.
So he was telling me that I asked him, I go, John's everywhere. My wife, we're watching UFC the other day, and there's in the ring post, I see Morgan and Morgan, right? My wife turns around and looks, and I said, you want to hear the story of this one? John goes, no one watches this bullshit. No one, this is, Dan's telling me this. Next day, the biggest call output in the history of Morgan and Morgan, he says, my dad goes, across the board.
Hey, not only did I do that, and here's
there you are working with Dana. You know what I mean? There you are working and doing something with Dana.
Listen, I sponsor Kyle Busch. Have you seen the buses we have with Kyle Busch on the side?
Yes.
We got Frankie Muniz up. We're sponsored. My children, are kind of moving in, and I don't know what I don't know. And I I was always kind of hesitant about sports and this and that. But look, I'm in Yankee Stadium. I'm in the Red Sox Stadium. You ought to look at this thing in Pittsburgh today, this campaign. So I have decided that Dan was right, and that we're at UFC. Listen, man, we're at the World Championship rodeos. We're doing rodeos. No. And so it's a new world, and we're a unique situation, Dan, because we're the largest injury firm in the history of the world, and we're in every state. We have 1,000-something lawyers, and so we can advertise nationwide. And I couldn't do UFC and be an Orlando law firm, but because of the size and the scope and the scale. And by the way, when you buy like that, it's really cheaper than when you buy local because the cost per thousand goes down.
Hey, John, I didn't mean to insult you when I said 100. I found out it's 300 million, and I was like, hang on. Someone goes, hey, you better put another zero on that thing there because John spends over 300 million when it comes to advertising across the country, and I'm going like John's famous line, man. I don't need you because I'm everywhere.
Hey, listen, I had a guy. I know you love that line. I had a guy that came to see me today. He's a radio guy, has one of these shows, and he wanted me to do something with him. And I used the line that I told you a long time ago.
25 years ago.
I don't need to be anywhere because I'm already everywhere. So I but if the rodeo people have a good price,
Yeah.
okay. If UFC, are we sponsoring Michigan?
Yep.
We just opened up in Detroit,
Yep.
kicking ass up there. I'm sponsoring a lot of, sports up there.
Yep.
And listen, with the way the world is now, people are cutting cords. People aren't watching TV. They're watching streaming. Live sports takes on a whole new world of its own as far as marketing to the masses. So, look, Shaq, Shaq said, but we had Dan, speaking of Dan, we had a buddy the other day, one of my guys I represented years ago. I'm not going to tell you his name, but he got arrested for something. Shaq was trying to get a hold. Shaq called Dan and said, we got to get a lawyer for so-and-so. He said, to ask Pops who we should get.
Yeah.
I told Dan, tell Shaq if he gets involved, the guy's going to ask him to pay for the law. But we do Shaq's, and I have Dan do that. Me and Shaq have been friends for a long time. You remember Jerry Demings, who was our sheriff. Shaq and I had the first fundraiser for Jerry when he ran for sheriff. So all these relationships over the years have paid off. And look, once upon a time when you were here and you had nowhere to go for Thanksgiving dinner, I brought you over and gave you hey, have you ever had a better? Listen, no. when you eat with Kentucky people,
no.
For Thanksgiving, one time, listen, you're like this, Dan. One time we were at this Stuckey's with my grandmother who had all the things, and there was this bunch of books, and she was looking. I said, "What are you reading?" And the book was called White Trash Cooking. And she's reading this book, White Trash Cooking, and she puts it up, and I said, Are you gonna get that book? And she said, No, honey, those are just my recipes.
Hey, folks, let me just tell you this. I went over 3 times for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I'm going to tell you this. You see John and Ultima on the commercials. They are the same exact people that when you're in their living room, you would never know. You would never know because you see pictures of John back when he had this first house and he came from Kentucky. He shows all these pictures. I've been in that office, by the way, if that's the Orlando house.
Yes.
And I've been in there.
This is my real office in Orlando.
Oh, okay. Because the home one, I was in there, and
I got this same piece of furniture in the home office. That's you're
right.
thinking.
And I'm watching John write out checks for all of his family because he shares he's so giving and such. And I'm telling you, the number one thing that I love the new commercials, and I'm implementing it too when I talk about you, is that you know why he's so good? They win. Okay, John doesn't give a shit about anything else but winning. Okay, and I told the folks in California what you're doing out there, getting those folks their money.
You remember when I owned Taboo, the nightclub in Orlando?
Yep.
You know who my DJ was?
Who?
DJ. He was our DJ. All I do is win.
Yeah.
Him, DJ Khaled. And he was my DJ, so he went out and hit this thing. So that song, I love that song. All I do is win.
John Morgan, I never heard DJ Khaled work for you too.
As a DJ at Taboo. And the guy, and Mark Nije, remember Mark Nije?
Yes.
Mark put the whole deal together. It was me. Mark Nije was the leader. I was in it. Remember Johnny Magic, the radio guy, and Howie D from the Backstreet Boys. We owned Taboo. And later in life, I'm looking up. I seem like all we do is win. I'm like, I called DJ up. I go, is that the guy that was our DJ? He also DJ'd at a bottle club that DJ owned. It was unbelievable. All of a sudden, so when you say all I do is win, I just think of DJ Khaled. All I do is win. And listen, if you want to know how much we win, go to forthepeople.com, look at verdicts and settlements, and
30 billion.
We win a lot.
Absolutely. John, thank you so much. I feel like one of your sons, and I mean that a lot because you've always taken care of me and watched over me. And thank you again. I can't
Man,
thank
I'm
you
proud.
enough.
Listen, Dan, I am so proud of you because you've had some ups and you have had some downs, but guess what? No means yes.
Yes, sir.
You kept fighting.
Tell hello to Mahai and tell everyone we said hi.
I will.
Love you, John. Thank
Shaka.
you. That is our friend John Morgan. I didn't expect to keep him on that long, but hey. So this guy, DJ Khaled, what is that? I've never heard that. Holy cow. Better Call Saul. Bob. Holy cow. I love that movie. Holy cow, man. All right, I got to take a time out and pay some bills here, or John's going to kick my ass. Speaking of Morgan and Morgan, you just saw the man himself. By the way, every Tuesday he's coming on with us to talk sports. How you doing? Chris Hinton, his son, was just drafted by your Eagles. He's going to come on in a couple minutes here as well. Over $30 billion recovered. You just heard John say it, because all they do is win, win, win. Unbelievable. Number one injury law firm in the country. Maybe one of the tops in the world. Told you about the family in Pennsylvania. $650K they were initially offered. John got him $30 million. Down in Florida, where he is right now, they were offered $350,000 a family. They ended up getting $12 million. If you're ever injured, please do me a favor. Go forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Hey, somebody get back with me on the President of the United States or Time Man of the Year. Let me know what his schedule and he's free. I'd like to get him on the program. We just had a billionaire on. Like to see if the Time Man of the Year, he's got a little free time. Maybe he doesn't, because I know he's got to do the View and shit. There he is. Champion of all champions. Man of man. Jalen Hurts, how you doing? John likes him. Hey, man, guess what? There's a lot to like about the kid. Just let me know when he's got free time, though. You know, I want to make sure we're doing everything right here. Got to put in a request. Hey, do you think we get 5 minutes of your time? Probably not, right? Time Man of the Year. Hey, by the way, I love what John said about ain't no racism on Shedeur Sanders. There's absolutely no way. The dad didn't help him. The dad thinks the kid's Dion. Well, the kid's not Dion. He's got many flaws in his game. He doesn't play on time. He holds the ball too much. But, hey, can he play in this league? Dude, if Brock Purdy or any of these other guys can play, he can play. Did he get humbled? Doubt it. And by the way, I want my quarterback to be a little bit of an asshole. Okay? Still on what? What are you talking about? Still on what? Am I still on Jalen? What do you mean? Jalen Hurts, Time Man of the Year, most influential man in the history of the NFL. What are you fucking talking about? I'm giving him his kudos. Now that could be that. Now look, see this here? Yes, that's true. I buy that, YouTube J. I do, man. Face of the NFL, 2903. Hey, the face of the View. And let me tell you this. He's the face of the View. He's not the face of the NFL. The face of the NFL doesn't go on the View. He does a man show, Pump. Come on, Pump. He does a man show. Nobody does that show. The View. Calls yourself the face of the NFL. Face of the NFL. The View. Yeah, that's my flat platform. I don't know. Yeah. Hey, what did the face of the NFL do? I didn't go to the White House where it's a world stage. I went and did the View. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I really love the show. Well, stop having your guys create politics for your team. Hey, Devin. Devin thinks that I create these topics. The actions of the players and the team create it. Dude, why in the world? You think I just bring that shit up? What, just to bring it up? I follow what. This is why people always ask me this. What'd you talk about yesterday? You know what I say? I don't remember. Because I don't. Forever, I've had that mentality. Hey, do you remember what you went over yesterday? No, I don't. Oh, why? Well, I'm pretty topical. I don't sit around making topics up that have no relevance. Talk about AJ. Okay. The 2 wide receivers on the team didn't go to the White House. Who gives a shit? Who's the most recognizable face now on the Eagles? Saquon Barkley. How you doing? That's what I'm talking about. What a leader. Yeah, the reason that you won is because of him. Xander said it too. You had Barkley. You didn't have Barkley in 23. I know. 2904 or whatever it was. Sue helped me out on that. 2904. Let me see here, man. I hope this is John because he was awesome. That was awesome stuff, man. Okay? Oh, it's great. Jesus, criminy. Stop it. Hey. Saquon Barkley, without a doubt, is now the new leader on that team, and I love that. I do. Number one, good stuff. Love it. All right. Let's go here. Free agency. You guys have any interest in this? By the way, Chris Hinton's going to join us here in a couple minutes. Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback. Would you guys be interested in him? Justin Simmons. Any interest? Von Miller. Zadarius Smith. I'd like to have Zadarius Smith. I totally would. That was awesome having John Morgan on. Really loved it. Guys, I'm going to give you a little story about a guy who's coming up here. And I would tell you that Chris Hinton is maybe the most disrespected NFL football player of all time. And one of the greatest things happened. My daughter plays professional rugby now. Watching your kid succeed is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I love watching it. And Chris Hinton's son was just drafted by the Eagles. And I love that Stoutland called the kid personally, because when you have a great O-line coach, Jimmy Johnson says it on our show all the time. What? You can't get around not having a great O-line coach. Well, let me give you the story here on Chris Hinton before I bring him in. He's a third overall selection by the Denver Broncos out of Northwestern. And he gets caught up in the John Elway story back in '83. And everyone to this day, and we have Hall of Fame voters on all the time. From now on, I'm going to start this campaign like we did for Eric Allen. And because I'm on the board that puts all the intel together. Chris goes to Indianapolis, an organization that was going through transition. He went to Baltimore. Then they moved in the middle of the night, and he got caught up in all this. You want to hear something, though? 7-time Pro Bowler. He's got more Pro Bowls than Lane Johnson. This guy's one of the best ball players in my era. I had a chance to play against him. Ron Salt, Ray Donaldson was like the greatest center I ever played against. That guy was great. And Chris just got caught up in it. But you know what he's doing now? Now he's rooting his son on. And now he's a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, which is absolutely sensational. So it's been a long time. I played against him in '87. And it was really an honor to get him on here. And let's bring Chris Hinton on now. His boy got drafted to the Eagles. Let's bring Chris. Chris, how you doing, my friend? Thanks so much for doing this.
How are you, man? Thanks for having me.
Let's start out with the most important thing. How cool is it to see your son drafted? And, you know, as a guy who had gone through the ropes yourself and everything, and a guy who had been through the wars, to see your son achieve what he did at Michigan, and now he's a member of the Eagles means what?
Well, to piggyback what you were saying before I came on, talking about your daughter and watching her be successful, man, it's the best. I mean, because the one thing, I've had a lot of people come to me and like, man, you know, just, you know, aren't you excited to have your son? I was like, you know what? To have your kid be able to accomplish something that they set out to do. I mean, it just so happened it's the same profession that it chose me, and it's the greatest thing.
Chris, my uncle was Andy Robustelli, and I think having a professional football guy that helped guide me through, because there's so many roads that you can take and not know the journey. For you to get on, getting in a routine is one of the most important things. Getting into a locker room. How important do you think that is for Miles now that he grew up in that system with you knowing, and he can ask you questions in college? What's going to happen here when you get to the Philadelphia Eagles, when you got a guy like Stoutland, how important do you think that is to have that as a background, being grown up in that?
You know, the neat thing about it is there's a fine line between being, you know, the super dad versus just being dad, pops. And I think that both of my boys, they enjoy me just being dad. But every once in a while, they'll go into the football aspect and ask questions and bounce things off me. And so I sit back and wait, you know, and typically they come around and ask questions, and it's important. Like you say, like if you were a doctor and your dad was a doctor, it'd be cool to bounce stuff off your dad. So,
Chris, how do you balance that? How do you balance? Because to me, I let my wife have the voice, because if it comes from me sometimes, I'd be like this. Well, I don't know. That looks terrible. And I mean, my wife's like, no, we're not going there. So so me, I'm working on balancing that. Is it tough for you to balance that too? Because again, you don't want to go, no, man, you got to slide that foot left side. You can't let that guy get you out. And then you go, wait, I got to be a dad here and let this thing roll here. I mean, is it tough?
Yeah, it is, because like going over to Ann Arbor for games. And after the game, you go out for dinner, and it's like, oh man, it's like things that I watched during the game. It's like, oh, we're gonna talk about that step. We're gonna talk about the guy, you know, the tight corner. But then you forget, you remember that, hey, your pops, and they want to enjoy the family moment, having dinner, and not talking football between courses. So it's tough.
First, I think the toughest thing had to be when you're looking at that Michigan uniform on your kid there. And I don't know about you, man. You know, the battles going up there to Ann Arbor, right. Man. I don't know, Chris Hinton. That had to. I don't know how that'd be like my kid playing for the Gators. I don't know how that's going to work.
I know it's. I don't think. I think I can now get back to Evanston and pull out all my old purple stuff now that the boys are gone out of college. So, but it was neat. You know, just kind of crazy how things happen. And my first college game was at Michigan when Northwestern played in 1979 at Michigan. So,
hey, Chris, your son, talk to me about what. And again, I think Stoutland's the best offensive line coach. I don't know what you think. I think him and Callahan over in Tennessee, there's a couple other guys in the league. And when you have a guy like that, a McKendrick, or guys that you and I know, Alex Gibb, people like that have been really known for being a great developer of talent. For you, what do you think your kid's going to bring to this team? And what do you think that Jeff Stoutland will get out of your son? Because there's an opportunity at right guard for him to roll in there, and because of his physicality and his size, what they did with Micaiah Becton last year, that looks like a role that could be carved out for him.
Exactly. That's a great question. Going into the draft, I wasn't, sure you want your kid to be drafted high, but more importantly was that he ended up in the right situation. And you couldn't have asked for a better situation. You got a great offensive line coach, and I've been full board study on Stoutland U, and I'm like, wow, this dude is serious. And because I've been a little detached from professional football, watching a lot of college stuff over the years, but I think the one thing with Miles, he needs a coach that's a developmental guy who can take him, because a lot of the pieces that are there already that you can't coach or teach, size and athleticism, and he has it. And I tell him, I'm like, man, I see some of the things that he does that I couldn't do. And, some of his balance things. And so it needs some honing. And so that's why it was important that he ended up in a good situation where he's got some good tutelage. And I think Coach Stoutland it's a great situation for him.
I got to tell you this, Chris, that I didn't know until the D-line coach went to Miami, and I asked him this. This is one of the greatest teaching tools I've ever heard, because you and I know when you're a first or second team guy, you're going to get reps. First team guy gets the most. Second team, third team guy is usually a scout team guy giving opposite looks. This guy does this in his developmental for all players, and this is why you never see a drop-off when they drop a guy like last year, Fred Johnson in, or Tyler Steen. He takes the first, second, and third team guys, Chris, and they get each amount of reps, no matter if you're the first team or second team or third team guys throughout the week, so that when the game comes, it's not overwhelming to you and that you feel engaged, that they're developing you. He's developing you on the fly with Lane Johnson. He'll get as many reps as Lane Johnson will throughout game week, which to me,
that's unheard of. That's unheard of. And so, and I didn't know that, but you know, like you pointed out, typically, you know, a backup guy, he's, you know, like you said, potentially just a scout guy, never seeing the other side of the ball. So that's unheard of. That's great to hear. It's part of the development. And so I couldn't be more excited about where he ended up.
And how important is it to have two Pro Bowlers and a Hall of Famer on each side of him? You got Lane over on the right, and you got Cam, who they're developing into being an all-pro center themselves. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why Becton also had a great year a year ago. Plus, you have Barkley that's running the ball. You had Eric Dickerson. I mean,
exactly.
Dude, your O-line with Ron Salt, we'll get to that in a minute here, but when you have guys like that on each side, that has to help also too, right, Chris, when you've got great players on each side of you?
Oh, yeah. Especially, you know, if he gets an opportunity to play some guard, I mean, what better situation than to have like some all-pro, Pro Bowl players to play next to each other. So I'm tickled pink. I'm excited about it.
Chris, I want to get to you now. And I got to tell you, man, you've been one of the most disrespected guys in the history of the National Football League, because I don't know how you can sit there and I see guys go into the Hall of Fame with lesser credentials than you, and it always gets painted that you were a failure somehow in this because of the Elway trade. And here you are, a 7-time Pro Bowler. You were one of the elite tackles of your time and one of the best of your time. And it's kind of like overlooked. And you have such a great demeanor now. I just wonder, I mean, doesn't that ever, because I never hear your name brought up, and I hear all these guys, Jacoby, you're better. Yeah. I mean, no disrespect to Joe. Joe, God rest his soul, great player, but doesn't it bug you that you're the guy in the Elway trade and that you also overachieved and you also lived up to your number 3 drafting?
Yeah, it you know, every once in a while, you know, I'll go in a deep dive and do a comparison. I'm like, am I missing something? Because I don't want to be that guy who sits around saying I should be. I'm like, am I missing something? And
no,
then,
you're not.
You know, I pull up and not only did I make 7 Pro Bowls, but in 8th year I made all pro, but didn't make the Pro Bowl. So 8 years I made the Pro Bowl or was all pro at 4 different positions.
Come on, man.
Left guard, left tackle, right tackle. I made Pro Bowl or all pro in all 4 positions.
8 times.
So yeah, it's and unlike other positions where there's statistics where you can argue. I mean, it's sometimes I get lost in the wash and the fact that you didn't play in the Super Bowl which for me, I say that's even more reason, because it's easier to get props if you're on the Super Bowl team. and especially back in the when we played,
Yeah.
it was like regional games. Nobody saw your game on the West Coast when you were playing the Eagles, or so. Yeah, it's. I might go up there on the stage like this, but, but maybe one day, man.
Yeah, but I mean, 8 times a Pro Bowler, all pro involved in that, and you're not in the Hall of Fame. And I see guys with lesser resumes go in. Do you really think that this all goes through because of the Elway trade? And this is the number one reason why? I mean, Chris, come on, man.
I think that's part of the reason.
Your resume is so stupid great. It's beyond. I mean,
I was the first rookie offensive lineman ever to make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
So,
every time you're opening your mouth now, I'm getting more insulted now here, okay? I mean, that's crazy.
Because typically, Hall of Fame, they like to have something along with your name first or only. And I kind of feel that, those categories. But I think, again, to your point, we're talking about when we played, I mean, guys didn't, reporter on the West Coast would never see a Indianapolis, Miami game or something like that. So, whereas now it's a little different. I think the guys who are voting are a little more informed than they were when the process started for me. So,
well, I gotta tell you, I mean, is there any regrets you have? I mean, was the regret? I mean, because think about this. I mean, if you go to Denver, I know Elway wouldn't have been there. He'd have been in Baltimore / Indianapolis, whatever. If you had gone to a different situation, if you had been in something different, is that your only regret? Do you have a regret because your career was so electric? I mean,
I have no regrets. I was a kid that played at Northwestern. We were 4-40 in my 4 years. I played tight end my junior year. I played 1 year at offensive line my senior year. So for everything to have happened, man, I was truly blessed. It was, and it's kind of cool because my boys now like realize before they
yeah.
Your pops. It's like
yeah,
now
when they start playing the position, they get it. They go, "Hey, Dad, I get it now."
Exactly. So that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing now. So,
boy, I tell you, man, I got to, Chris. This has been great because I've only played against you. I've never spoken to you before, and you look down at, like I said, your resume, and you see the people, and like I'm on a panel that we put names together each year, and I don't ever remember your name being on any of those things, man. I mean, I don't think you've ever been considered.
It's crazy. Now I'm in the senior category, but it's all good, man. I had 13 awesome years. I played with some great guys, like you mentioned, Ron Salt, Ray Donaldson. I mean, like you say, he's another guy.
Oh yeah.
Who just
best center I got to tell you one story about him. So we're playing against you in the RCA Dome, and in '87, Dickerson, I knocked the hell out of him. He gets up, folks. Don't worry about it. He went for 187 in that game. Okay, he went for 187. They had Ron Salt, they had Ray Donaldson, and they had Chris, of course, and they had Randy Dixon on that line. I played against in college too. So I got to tell you, so my first game, I had never seen this. Ray's doing his head. He's doing his head juke on me, and I'm falling forward and shit. And I'm going like, after the game, I'm shaking my head, man. This whole line was just absolutely littered with veterans, and they knew everything what to do. So I'm walking off the field. Ray comes up to me, and he goes, "Get off the ball. I'm crowding you." He goes, "Get off the ball. Move back a little bit." Because this guy was 6'5", 6'6", 320 pounds, and he moved like he was a receiver.
Oh,
I mean, and I'm going like, man, I get him the next year, and I play against him. I have like 7, 8 tackles on him. And he goes, you moved off the ball. And he goes, that's a great game. That's a great job. And he patted me on the head, and I was like, damn, that's exactly what you get. And I'm so happy that, I got a relationship with him. But, man, that guy was a great football player.
My rookie year, I played guard. And, playing next to him, I mean, there was no better situation to come in and play next to Ray Donaldson. So
absolutely. So we're going to see you in Philly this year?
Oh,
I want to tell you something compared to our time. Ready? Real quick?
Go ahead.
I can't remember the last time that a kid that was drafted for the Eagles didn't make the team.
Oh, wow.
I can't remember. And now remember something with us. We only had 47. 71 guys now make a team with the practice squad. Exactly. And I got it. Hey, Chris, you and me would play 28 years. They had 71, right? We'd be playing 70. And so, I don't remember the last time the Eagles, when they draft a kid, that guy didn't make that team the first year. So you're right. He got drafted to the best situation.
I think that's a reflection of the work that the scouting department puts in, and personnel guys. I forget about it. But like you said, based on what those guys do now, man, we could still be playing.
Absolutely.
What they're being paid.
Oh, hey man, them Scott team guys are making $200,000. You're like, hey, what's going on here, man? Hey,
I'll tell you a funny one. My rookie year, I was the highest paid player on the team. My base salary was $200,000.
No way.
The highest paid player on the team. Randy McMillan, Curtis Dickey, the running backs made less than me. And it just shows you how times have changed.
Well, hey, my uncle played 17 years in the league, Hall of Fame career.
That's crazy.
I signed for I don't know. I think I got $300,000-400,000 or something like this. My uncle goes, I had a 17-year career, and look at you making all this money now. And I turned to look at him, and I go, yeah, but you played when you rolled your helmet up, put it in your back pocket.
The leather helmets.
And now we're talking like that. Hey.
To your point, whenever somebody says, don't you wish you were playing now? I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't play 20 years before I did. Where guys were looking for a job during the off season to make ends meet. So,
hey, real quick, are you in good health?
I am. I got all my original joints and no replacements, and I walk anywhere from 7 to 8 miles a day. So no, I'm not bad.
You still got a play left in you?
Every time I see a contract, I say.
We still do it, right? Hey, I got one in me.
Saving that one.
Hey, I'll give it one. Make sure it's third down.
Right. Hey.
Chris, thank you so much for doing this. I hope we can do it again. And congratulations to your son on being drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he's in great hands with Jeff Stoutland, and I think we're going to see some great things, man, with your son. I liked what he did up at Michigan, and I think there's going to be some good things for him. I appreciate you doing this so much, and thank you so much. Absolutely. Thank you, Chris.
All right, brother.
You got it. That is my brother, Chris Hinton. Absolutely. Folks, did you hear that? 8 times All-Pro or Pro Bowl, and that guy's not even been considered for the Hall of Fame. I put the list together. I think it's the most disrespected thing I've ever heard. I mean, this guy's more accomplished than Lane Johnson. Do you understand that? He made the Pro Bowl in his rookie year. He's the first rookie to make the Pro Bowl at the offensive line in NFL history. 8 times. He's been a Pro Bowler or All-Pro. 3rd pick overall. Shows you how guys go through the cracks. And it really is over this Elway trade that happened. Because when you hear Chris Hinton, his name's in that trade. And everyone always goes like this. Take a look at the 83 draft. The 1983 draft is the greatest draft in the history of the National Football League. Okay? Sills, other than game, what is the shock to your family, social and personal, when you make the jump from the NFL? What made it possible for you to navigate it versus other players who find it hard? You know what you have to do, M. Reyes? When you get drafted, you have to gravitate to a player that has been in the league a long time. You guys, I don't know if you know the name Marvin Powell. He was on the Bucks, and Marvin had been one of the greatest offensive linemen of all time. I started watching, and the first thing you have to do is get into a routine. What do they do to prepare themselves to play in this league and play a long time? It took me too long to figure that out. Because when I got to Dallas and I saw how Ed Jones did it, I was like, now I got it. But I got it too late. Then I got sick. But I started seeing it. You have to get into a routine. I show up at 7:40. I show up at 6:38. I get treatment. I work out. I go get taped. I walk into my meeting room. I bring my books. We go to position meetings. Then we go and have lunch. Then we go out and we practice. We come back. We watch tape on the upcoming week. You start to get into a routine. The guys that get into that routine are the guys who make it. The guys who are all over the place are the guys who get lost quick. Those are the guys that don't make it. You have to have, as Nick Saban said, the mental makeup and the discipline to be able to understand that quick. Okay? Does the weight of expectations drown players this early on? Yeah. Look, I don't want to make excuses, but these are questions you're asking. So I get drafted very high. By the way, the Bucks are sending my contract. I can't wait. Okay? And we're going to frame it. And yeah, I mean, I went in the draft. Remember something, Reggie White went a supplemental draft. Remember, I posted this, New York Times will tell you, if you draft me in a supplemental draft, that next year, whatever pick they are picking, you have to surrender. The Bucks surrendered the 56th pick in the 88 draft. They took me in 87. The Seattle Seahawks had to give up their number 1 overall, the number 1 pick, because Bosworth was number 1. I think Chris Carter was in that draft with me. And I think the Eagles had to give up a 4th rounder for him. All 3 of us were in it. So the following year, they have to give up that draft pick, whatever they're picking in that round. Like I said, the Bucks gave up the 56th pick. So I was a 56th player taken. In today's NFL, that's the 2nd round. And I had a year left. So when you get there and everyone's expecting you to just, yeah. And when you don't have a routine and you don't know the position you're playing and you don't have a D-line coach that really likes you or believes in you, you got a lot of things fighting against you. And when you go to a shitty organization. Let me tell you something about the Eagles. It's a dream to get drafted there no matter what round it is. They're not going to look down on Miles Hinton being a 6th-round pick because Jeff Stoutland has his name on that. He's going to get opportunity to play. Okay? He's going to get opportunity to be developed. And Jeff Stoutland is going to do this. He's going to feel, because Chris Hinton is his dad, Jeff Stoutland's going to give that kid and that kid Kendall an opportunity. I think that kid Kendall's dad played Pete. I think he played at BC also. I think he was a first-round pick. Patriots? That sounds right. But Jeff's going to give him every opportunity to contribute to the Eagles. Not that he wouldn't anybody else, but I think he's going to take it because that's his kid. And that's Chris Hinton's kid. And I think those coaches, those D-line coaches and those O-line coaches, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. I think they take a special liking to that. Okay? The guys that don't make it in the NFL are weak. Everybody wakes up early to do a job. Most don't like him. Okay. I don't have a problem with that attitude. I don't have a problem with that attitude. That's how I look at it times too. Totally. I see that. Yeah. Okay. You're not wrong. It also seems that they don't try and fit a square peg into a round hole when they use a guy to the best of the strengths. Yeah, that's the shitty organizations. Okay? That's shitty organizations trying to do that. Whereas the Eagles try to find the right spot that fits the skill set. Whereas, Devin, here's the difference also. Some organizations try to fit that square peg in that round hole that fits their needs. Vic's going to look at the kid and go, oh, he's not that. You know, like I said, you know, the kid that was on with Xander, the really good talent draft evaluator that they had on. Okay. Well, that guy was talking like DTs, safeties, corners. Well, that's not how Vic Fangio looks at any of those draft picks on defense. He looks at none of those that way. Sure, you were drafted as a corner. Sure, you were drafted as a DT. Sure, you were drafted as a linebacker. But if Vic thinks you're going to be more effective in another position, he'll move you if he thinks you have the skill set to do it. Okay? You know, another team that I think is going to be a surprise team this year, Paul. I think Carolina is going to be a surprise team. If I'm not mistaken, am I right? Did Hunter Renfrow, did he sign with them too? Did he sign there as a off receiver for them? I thought he went there, or maybe I'm mistaken, but I think Carolina's starting to get – I think Dan Morgan's doing a good job. Okay, I do. I think they're signing the right free agents. I think Bryce Young's going to have a bounce back year. Okay, I mean, I do. I think he's going to have that opportunity to be able to do that. Yeah, Renfrow signed with Carolina. Okay, so I like that, man. Adam Thielen, Hunter Renfrow, a couple other wideouts they got down there. They got to improve in the O-line a little more. They got to get better on defense. But I think, again, one of the most competitive games that the Philadelphia Eagles played a year ago was against Carolina. That was a bad look for Dan to call Jalen out of his name. Never liked this shit because someone does something to you don't agree with. Don't need to call. Stop fucking moaning. Big Sills, that wasn't a knock on you, though. I'm aware you – oh, no, Shady. But Shady, you get up every day, go to work. My grandpa would say the same shit. Hey, don't make any excuses because you failed. No, I got it, but, hey, man, I find myself sometimes doing that too. Woe is me is not going to cut it. So, no, I didn't think you took a shot at me, brother. I didn't. But woe is me. When you don't make it, that's on you 100%, man. Hey, Sills, you got sick. Hey, Sills, you got drafted to a shitty team. Hey, Sills, wow, Jesus criminy. I sound like a loser. So I can't talk like that. It's beneath me. You know? I'm okay with what happened. Hey, look, the average NFL guy plays 3 years in the league. I played 3 NFL seasons. Okay. I played 7 total across the world football. Canadian, World League. James Harrison was a World League guy and arena. So I had 7 years. 3 in the NFL, and the average NFL players plays 3. So I'm average. I was an average NFL player. Okay. How many people can say that? That they were an average NFL player? Out of 26,000 ever drafted in the history of the league, and 30 ever played. I'm good. You know, it's okay. Not everything's all pro. How'd you like to be Chris Hinton, though? And you got 8 Pro Bowls, and you're not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't get that. Yes, and I will say that, Denny, I was a great college football player. I was. There's no getting around that. I know Reyes, right? Hey, I'm Reyes. Did you know anything about Chris Hinton before I brought him up? 8 times Pro Bowl, All Pro. Huh? Crazy. That was absolutely crazy. I mean, just absolutely wild. Yeah, I'm Reyes. I didn't. All right. Guys, thank you so much. Another great one. We got Marcus Hayes tomorrow, and I think Boomer Esiason. And we're going to talk to Boomer about the Eagles, too. About Shady and all that. Or excuse me, Shady. Maybe I'm getting Bill Belichick here a little bit, too. We'll talk about Saquon a little bit. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button. 2 to 6 tomorrow. We so appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the flip side.